Welcome to Flat Earth Debate. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you're amongst the 50% of the people watching this that have not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you are enjoying these streams and would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside the show while it is live. And if you would like to join the discussion, there is a link in the info box below this video. With the page you are currently watching muted, simply click that link to join the discussion and express your views on the shape of the Earth. There are a couple of rules in the Hangout. Number one, please do not swear. If you do, you will be ejected. And if you are, please do not try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You will be warmly welcome back on the next stream. With that, I'm going to transition across to my photos so I can share the show on Facebook, Skype and Twitter. And I would encourage anybody who is currently watching this live stream to please also share the show. Sharing is probably the most important thing I will ask you to do in the chat, as it increases the live audience. And that in turn increases the likelihood of a more diverse panel. So please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. I've just shared the show on Facebook, Skype and Twitter, and one more time I would encourage anybody who is in the live audience to please also share the show, as it increases the likelihood of a more diverse panel. So please smash that share button. I'm going to do a few shout outs to the people who have joined us already in the live audience. So here goes, hopefully. Oh yeah, we are joined by quite a few people. Shill Scanner, first one in. Just watched your intro video for this show. Thank you so much. I will mirror it once this show's done. Thank you very much for making that, Shill Scanner. I really appreciate it. Great advert. Thank you so much. Lottie says, good to have you here. Second one in. Good to see you. Sounding like Validation Boy saying the order that people have been joining. But yeah. Roger MC, third one in. Good to have you here. Dale Ohio, fourth one in. Thanks for being here. Mind's Eye 2016. Thank you for being in our live stream. Good to see you, my friend. Oakley Wan Kenobi. Brilliant. Love it. Thanks for being here. Nice to see you. Base. Thanks for being here. The Rig says, yo, everyone. Yo to you too, The Rig. Thanks for being here. Veen. Should really check the link has actually made it to the Hangout. Yes, it has. Good. If one of you... perfect timing as ever. We've been joined by a couple of guests. So we've been joined by, in this order, Make4 and Huey. So if I can say a quick hello to Make4 first, that'd be wonderful.
Hey mate, how you going?
I'm going... nowhere. I'm sat in my chair, but I'm doing well. How are you, Huey?
I'm fine, thanks, Nick.
Good to have you here, my friend. Thanks for being here. Well, as there's two of you, I'm going to go straight on mute, my friend, so you two can thrash it out.
I'm just enjoying the Friday evening here. So, Nathan, what do you think about Eric Dubé's channel getting taken down?
The last thing I watched from Eric Dubé was something that was very anti-Semitic. So, without knowing anything about it, I would guess that he's been shut down for Jew hatred. And if he hasn't, he should have been.
That's what it says. If you try and click on his channel, it says he's been shut down for hate speech, I think it says.
Good. There you go. There's my opinion.
Good riddance.
Not good riddance. I think, I've had this conversation many times, and the person who had the best attitude towards it was David Weiss, and it was a year ago when everyone thought everyone was a shill, very paranoid. That still happens, but that aside, his attitude was, if Eric Dubay has brought people to this concept and opened their mind, and he's a shill, then give me 30 more like him. That was his attitude, and it was a kind of very interesting way of looking at it. You may not agree with his way of putting things across, you might not like Robotham, but ultimately he has brought a lot of people to this subject. So for that, I think he deserves credit. However, he's a Jew hater.
All right. Well, just curious about your opinion on that one. Yeah, nothing further, my lord.
Math Powerland did an interesting video about it, which I watched 90% of yesterday, and his main focus was like it was 2 years ago. He was talking about, you've never had the perspective of the Earth from space, and Eric Dubay is currently being pushed up the rankings via Joe Rogan, who is the top result if you now search for Eric Dubay, and it's about Tyson and Dubay debating via Skype, apparently. But that's the first result you get now, which, some people can read a load into that, but that is interesting. Let's just put it that way, that he gets his channel shut down and then there's talk of him debating with Neil deGrasse Tyson. So it's like, oh, really? The Jew hater and the TV science boffin? Really? Is that really going to happen? But, okay, fair enough. I wouldn't say debate in any way represents me as a flat earther, but fair enough. If he's out in the mainstream doing that, good. If he's got himself there, wonderful. Just hope he doesn't spout any Jew hatred on mainstream TV.
You give him credit for, bringing attention to the flat Earth, but you think he deserved what he got for his hate speech.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, fair enough. Nothing further.
About you, mate, Four. You got any opinion on Eric Dubay and his shutdown?
Oh, bloody Jews. Jesus. Jews.
Yeah, exactly. That's basically what we got from Eric.
I don't know. I haven't really seen much of his video. Well, I've seen a fair bit, but I don't want to talk about that. Nah, I have nothing in the matter.
Been joined
Personally-
by Sleeping Warrior. How you doing, Anthony? Good to have you here.
Morning, guys. Morning, Rolf. Just stopped on because I wanted to ask Rolf, did he get any answer to his question about the gyroscopes? He came on a couple of weeks back and you were asking, how can a gyroscope account for mechanical drift as well as apparent drift? And you started the article. Did you have any feedback from it since then?
Well, no. I mean, it's only in here that I've asked the question. You can't ask John Savage. He won't respond to you. He won't allow any questions through on his blog, chat. So I've only ever asked it in here. So no, I haven't had an answer to that question yet.
Okay. I was just only wondering because if I typed it in text, you probably wouldn't see it. That was all. And if I can answer the debate question that was just posed, I kind of think it's probably fair comment that he's been shut down because he was kind of divisive in the last few months and just generally peddling upstream when everybody else was trying to unite things together or to be at
He
least
was making nuclear weapons. I know it.
Yeah, he seemed to be sharpening his tools rather than. I mean, I don't know. I don't really credit Dubay with much more than the 200 proofs video, which he got from the robot. He got from, was it Robotham's work or somebody else's book? I don't really credit him for anything more than that, to be honest. He deserved it. If you're going to be if you're going to behave like an idiot, you kind of deserve to get treated like an idiot. It's one thing to be wrong about something, but it's quite another to be like nasty for no real reason. And he doesn't come across as the most polite and friendly guy to me. At least we can all disagree on stuff and it's generally cordial.
Yeah, his original content was slagging off of the flat earthers. That was his only original content.
Well, I mean, I'll be honest. I did watch his 200 proofs when I first got into it, because I was looking at, because my view on it was, well, he only needs to get one of these right, and it's probably brilliant. And that's as far as I got into the debate with Debate. So as far as I'm concerned, he was a small influence right at the very, very beginning. I don't know. I don't really see him as significant anymore. I don't see him as the godlike cult status figure that he seems to act like. And I just thought, if you're going to do stuff that's going to be contentious and it's that contentious, you've got to expect some element of a backlash. And he's had it. I mean, people are getting all their videos censored for really ridiculous reasons. I don't think Nathan gets any of these debate channels monetized because they're against the community standard or whatever. So if they're going to be that petty with people like Nathan and other videos that are basically critical of science, yeah, I can see why they would do it against him, because it does seem to be a little bit consistent with their approach recently. I'm surprised he's lasted that long, if I'm honest. That's my view.
Yeah, I think I actually suffer the same problem that almost every YouTuber suffers, which is to say that with these, they're particularly not profitable, because with every YouTuber, it wouldn't matter if these were car videos, they immediately get put as not suitable for mainstream advertising immediately with almost every single one of them. Now that normally gets resolved, and that's the same for every single YouTuber, but with these they're very short-lived. In other words, they get a day or two of viewing, so by the time YouTube come and demonetize them, if you went through my back catalogue of these, they're all monetized, but who cares? They're getting 3 views each. When they're getting 1,000 views, it's in the first day, literally probably within the first 12 hours. But of course, that's the point that YouTube are like, oh, we better have a closer look at this. And by the time they do, it's like, oh, wonderful. But the old ones, yeah, they're all monetized. So, it doesn't mean I'm going to discourage people from watching the ads, because they do still generate some revenue. But it's about $1. They make about $1 or 2 each, which is nothing compared to a proper show I'd do, where they'd make $10 to $20 per show. So, it's just one of them. That's why I do pester people to do the super chat, and I make a joke of it. But if it wasn't for people like Fanny Lancer and Make4 and Chill Scanner and Patricia, this show wouldn't happen. That's the bottom line. I do have to monetize my time, and like it or lump it, I don't care if people criticize that. That's just a fact of life. So, if they're not making money from the adverts, or making a tiny amount of money from the adverts, I'm going to, justify my time by saying, contribute to the show. And if people do, which they do, great, I'll continue to do them, because for every person that says the truth shouldn't be monetized, tough crap, my time is and will be monetized, whether the truth is amongst that time or not. It's just tough luck.
If I can jump in, Nathan, I really don't have a problem with you making money. More power to you, I say. You got off your backside and did something. If you're making, I don't expect you're making very much, but I think you deserve some financial reward for your efforts.
Most globeheads have that opinion, so it's the flat earthers that criticise me.
Yeah, well, they've been silly, aren't they?
Maybe. I don't care. It goes in one ear and out the other. It didn't used to. A year ago it didn't, but now it does.
Well, put more power to you, I say. I mean, you're doing like 2, sometimes 3 hangouts a day, and you have to be there to look after your daughter and all of that. So you think, well, why not do something while I'm here? That's commendable, I think.
Yeah, exactly. She's sat here. I mean, I had Skyfly Bro asking me about my job, and I know you all jumped on him. I honestly don't mind. I have talked about it, and had there been a gap, I would have just told him, these are the hours I work, and I fit in these around my work, But this is a hobby. This is the reason for doing these so much, is because I would spend night after night on the phone with what people call the potatoes. We are quite close. I haven't spoken to them as much since doing these shows, but literally each night I was up till the same time I am now doing these debates, just talking to people. I'd still go to work, but the fact that I have to click the mouse and worry about people porn bombing and things, yeah, it's a little bit more involved, but so what? Massive shout out to They Lie Ohio. Sorry,
I thought he was a flat earther. I thought he'd be on your side. I don't understand why he started criticizing you and basically accusing you of lying.
Been joined by Derp Hanger. How you doing, Derp?
Hey, I'm good.
Oh, is that P Mars? Do I recognise the voice? See if I'm right.
That's P Mars, I think.
The black-haired Jewish youth lies in wait for hours on end, satanically glaring at and spying at the unsuspicious girl whom he plans to seduce, adulterating her blood and removing her from the bosom of her own people. The Jew uses every possible means to undermine the racial foundations of a subjugated people.
Oh dear.
That's that's Adolf Hitler from Mein Kampf, one of my heroes.
Oh,
Is Adolf Hitler really one of your heroes, P. Mars?
A mentor. When I was a little boy, I had a Nazi helmet I used to go play with.
Is that true?
Yeah, my uncle brought home my grandpa brought home a Nazi helmet from the war, but my mom sold it.
Cool.
who are you?
There's a message in chat. Maybe we should consider it. It says, do you want to talk about Soundly's recent blink test? Talk about Soundly's new blink test. Anybody familiar with it?
No.
Let's see. Make a space. Let's do it live. All right, Nate, do you want to share? We'll see if we can find Soundly's new blink test. I've unsubscribed to him now. I said I'd subscribe to him whilst he was doing his observation.
Zig Hail, Shroomy.
Blink test, Marriott, flat Earth debunk. Oh, actually, let's put this in context of when I see this flat Earth debunk. I was watching Jaren's hour-long show in the last 24 hours or so, and Jaren was responding to this planes beneath the horizon flat Earth debunk, and basically Jaren's point was, yeah, it kind of looks like it's gone behind the horizon, and then he zoomed into the topography of the land and he showed that there was like buildings and freeways and hospitals and stuff that were on the land that this is landing behind. So Jaren was questioning like how easy is it for Soundly to claim that it's a flat Earth debunk when it's obviously not a flat Earth debunk based on a simple little bit of research to what he claims he's seeing, and it shows that the plane drops behind buildings and houses and freeways and overpasses and stuff like that. So when I see flat Earth debunk in the title, I instantly think, oh, here we go. So that's the premise before we start. So let's look at what this video is actually talking about. Get rid of that. Right, okay, so let's slow this right down. Speed, slow it right down. So he's obviously on about this square building. Okay, so I can see what the problem is here. All right, so I need to stop it. Right, I'll stop it on that one. We can see that the building has got a foreground building and another foreground building that's very small alongside this chunkier building. We can see that that looks like an air conditioning unit on the top of the building below. Sound is indicating that all that is missing, but what looks like we can see is the top part of the building that's there. So that gives us an idea of what's going on. We see a big black line underneath here. It would appear, let's go over the blink test. It would appear that we're seeing it down to about, it's hard while it's right on the timeline. It appears that it's down to about here or so. So then we're missing a chunk. So I'm assuming that he's accounted for angular size resolution limitations in the claim for flat Earth debunk, because there is an angular size resolution limitation. But come on, get off it. Let's go back to this one.
Sterling is dropping.
There we go. That's what I want. Stop. All right. So I'm just looking for other features that's in the picture to see what I can work out. Okay. So this is interesting. I'm seeing a light there. This light here should be in the blink test, but it doesn't appear to be so. Well, I don't know whether people would agree with me there, but should that light be in the picture? Move my mouse out of the way. I'll have to take this slightly off full screen because it's right on the timeline. I can't get into the picture to show what I'm trying to say. But there appears to be a light. It's not going to work, so I may as well go back to it. There appears to be a light that is there, that if this blink test is accurate, which I'm not saying it's not, but if we assume that it's accurate, this light here should appear in the picture somewhere.
Man.
Right. It's the application of Skunk Bay again, I'm afraid, because what it appears to be is the light. Let's just get that other image. It's hard to do this because it's right on the timeline, so I can't really show it, but there appears to be a lamppost here that would be presumably the light source that we're seeing in the original footage. So
Even if that was on flat, even if it was on flat or curved Earth, that building is it's impossible to be right there, because that would be like right in front of you. Like,
yeah, it looks massive, doesn't it? Firstly, the building it's like that looming effect that Rob Skiba was talking
picture
about.
of that building right to the ground. I mean, it's fair enough, but like, then it'd be like built on the shore, right in front of you.
Sorry to interrupt. Can I just do a
Like-
quick intro? We've been joined by Curved Water. How you doing, Curved?
Good.
We
How's
hear you.
everybody?
Good.
Ah, that's better.
Just a quick shout out to Daylight Ohio for his super chat donations. I'm not going to read what he put, but thank you very much all the same.
Nice.
Right.
Like, sometimes I think like it's a bit of a perspective thing, because if you look at that picture, it's even closer. It's like it's right in front of the cameraman building now. Like,
Yeah.
it's over the water. It's come towards us now. Like,
The question is on the background picture. There's a light source that's here, which on the foreground picture isn't there in the same place. And if it is in the same place, it would be this. I think it's this street light.
yeah. So like, it's essentially bringing the building forward, but it's now a small building. Like, so this isn't right.
No, it's for some reason the aspect or the perspective of the actual.
It's the light. It's like, I actually think it's something to do with distance and the way that we see stuff, like, and how far away it is. Like, if you ever look at a plane, it kind of looks like it's small for a fair while until it gets closer, and then it just like bursts into like your vision area more and gets bigger, like a lot quicker, like at a certain distance. I feel that happens. So it's very hard to judge by
Anybody
these.
else see that?
Notice
Sorry.
how this land here stretches and shrinks, and it stretches and shrinks. If we apply that to the building that we're seeing in the background, is he getting the building while it's in shrunken state and it looks very compressed? But it also
Really?
appears to be being magnified. Really?
Been joined by Paul. How you doing, Paul? Good to have you here.
Yeah, very good. Thanks. Hello.
Welcome,
Hello
Paul.
to you two. Good to see you.
So,
Hey, Riley, can I ask you a question? Or can I make a comment?
Certainly, sir.
You're saying that the picture of the plane descending below the horizon is because of terrain and buildings, etc.
Well, I'm echoing the words that Jaren said in his hour-long debate over it.
I heard what Jaron said as well. The problem with that is that's not what we see. We see a distinct horizon. You see the water meeting the night sky. You don't see terrain or buildings.
Yeah, but you wouldn't. Yeah, but you're implying that the terrain would be one line, one linear terrain, but it would be a three-dimensional terrain that would effectively be a brick wall.
what?
What?
The buildings and stuff that you're referring to, you're expecting to see like individual features of individual buildings, so that you would be able to determine that they were buildings, right?
Why do you turn everything inside out, backwards? That is
Because
not
you
at
don't-
all what he said. I'll let Huey speak for himself. I'm just
Okay.
pointing out
Well,
that is not what he said. Where do you get that from?
well, I'm basing it based on what he said. So maybe if he wants to repeat himself, maybe I
Hold
missed
on,
it.
now
like, we don't
if you
see terrain, we don't see buildings, we see a distinct horizon. You can see the water going all the way up to that horizon and the night sky above it. That's
Yeah.
what you're seeing.
But
So
I
if-
agree. I agree with Jaren's interpretation. Jaren,
Yeah, I know you do, but it's
Yeah,
wrong.
but What
Which
about
way?
what about what we see in the image? Do you agree with what we see, or do you agree with what Jared made up?
I just said
Look at
I agree with what Jaron made up.
Yeah, that was a rhetorical question, Riley.
Oh,
Sorry, I'll just introduce our two new guests. So, been joined by, who was it? Mr. Grimm first. How you doing, Grimm?
oh,
Plasma. And we've also been joined by Ranty. I think Ranty was first, actually. Sorry, Ranty. How you doing?
Right, ranty rant.
How you doing?
Good.
so just answering back to Huey. If you go to the video from Jaron recently,
Wait. Let's just look. What are you seeing there? What's the plane approaching? Can you see terrain? Can you see buildings?
well, you see a black line, don't you?
Yeah, that's the horizon. You can see the water going all the way up to the horizon.
Well,
The
no,
nice-
you don't. You see the water stopping at some point, and there's a black line above it, which
Yeah, that's
Jaron.
called a horizon. That's what we call horizon.
You said you said we see water going all the way up to the horizon, and that's not factually true, is it? Because there's a black
Well,
line.
No,
above
because
it.
there's a massive
Right.
shadow there. It blurs everything out. You don't know
What-
what's going on there. Could be
what-
bloody little houses and people in there, isn't there? Eh?
What terrain is that? What buildings are there?
Well, this is where I'd respectfully say to people, go and look at Jaron's explanation, because I agree with Jaron's explanation. How dishonest are global believers?
But it's saying it's bending below terrain and obstructions by buildings. You can't see anything like that. That's a very
What are the
distinct.
buildings?
But do you understand, or do you at least agree that if there were buildings here at night time, they would be A, silhouetted, and B,
Yeah,
There
I
are
agree.
buildings there. They're on the other side of the
There are
horizon.
no buildings. You can't see
They're
any
not there,
buildings
Mike.
there. This
They're
is at
not there.
night, and we can't
They're
even
not
see any
there.
lights.
right? So when
This
he
is
goes
at night,
further,
and we can't even see any lights of buildings.
so when Jaron goes further into it, he shows that the water line, and he shows that there are buildings that are right behind it, freeways, overpasses, hospitals, high-rise, tall
Yeah.
buildings, and that's
Which
consistent.
way
with
with the
what we see.
horizon?
And we
We
can't
can't
see
see them.
Right, sorry
don't
to
see
interrupt,
them
guys.
in
I just
that
want
video.
to. I just want to intro. Sorry, Huey. I just want to introduce Spurs, just so I can actually click the screen onto one of you. How you doing, Spurs?
Greetings.
Yo.
Good to have you here, Spurs. Thanks for being here.
When you see buildings across a body of water at night, you see lights. There's nothing there. That's the horizon. That's
Yeah,
what the image shows.
How far away are these? But you can clearly see that the light was not being reflected on this black bit. So whatever this black bit is, and it coincides with buildings, it would make sense that it is buildings.
Where's the lights?
But it's not buildings. Where's the lights?
He's not
The
zoomed
light.
in far enough.
Where's the lights?
Where are the lights? This is nighttime. Buildings have lights at
At night,
night
if
time.
you look across the body of water, you see lights. That's the horizon.
I don't
Where are the
think
street lights?
That's the horizon.
I don't think you can disagree that there are buildings here and a city.
Yeah, I don't. There are buildings there.
They're behind the horizon.
Dummy.
we don't
No, they're not
see
behind
them.
the horizon. The
Oh,
horizon
sorry.
is the buildings.
Oh, for crying out
You
loud!
can't see the buildings.
I can't see them though. They're beyond.
If
the
those were
are
buildings
beyond
at
the
night time,
horizon,
there would be lights.
Yeah, but
What's
we
the matter with
understand, we understand the concept of object permanence, don't we? We understand that when things are not in sight, that doesn't mean that they're disappeared. It means that they are still there.
Riley,
Yeah,
can
but
you
if
show
we can
like
claim to see them, we'd see the lights.
Well, it depends on if he zooms in or not. If he zoomed in, if he zoomed out far enough, then no, because the lights are tiny and they would be diffused. You know that the application of the inverse square law.
Nonsense.
No, stop it. Stop it.
No,
Stop
no.
it.
You remember when
You
we
can
spoke
see
about the
lights
stars,
across that
how
lake
the
all the
stars
time.
shouldn't be able to be seen because they're that far away. The angular.
No, that does not apply here. No, everybody can see all these lights.
No, if you zoom in, he probably
Yes,
would have done.
yes.
If he zooms in, he
Stop
probably
it.
would have done.
Stop it.
Dude, you know the buildings are there.
Yeah, below the horizon.
No, but the buildings
So-
are on the horizon. You can see that there's a black shadow of nothing.
What do they have?
Oh, for goodness
one
sake, we
building,
can see the
you don't
glow
see
of the lights
terrain, you don't
above
see-
the picture.
You're seeing
Right.
a distinct.
We can see
I
the
have
glow of the
told
lights
you
above
horizon.
the
we
picture,
can talk
but we
about
can't
it.
see the lights.
That's a
nothing
fair
there,
criticism.
Riley. There's nothing else there. That's the horizon.
It's a fair
Not-
criticism.
You
but
can't
we
see
know.
them. They're below. the
We know
horizon.
that somebody's got a little 60-watt bulb in a window at that distance away. If we zoom far and far away, you
We're
ain't going to see it
talking
because of the
about
inverse
a
square law.
whole city. A
But he
whole
hasn't zoomed
city
in, has
of
he?
lights.
Right,
Not
what we
one
do know-
At an
60-watt light
airport,
globe.
at an airport with beacons. You ever seen how bright an
No,
airport's lit up?
Anthony, this is the problem. We're testing their
Why can't
claim.
you see the-
They
why can't you
made
see
a
the
claim,
landing light?
and they're asking you to
Wait,
accept.
shut up. Shut up.
You're saying, okay, we accept that you're saying it's missing.
can't you
Let-
see
let
the
us- Let us
airport,
test that. Let us
Riley?
check that out. So
Why can't
what,
you see the
what
airport?
rules,
You ever seen
what
that
other way
British
would
private
Anthony
airport
check
bit?
this out? How would he test that what you're saying is true? You're just saying, no, he's wrong. But he's trying to test what you are claiming. So what other way would he test that your claims are true?
Because we'd be able to see it. It's not there. You can't see it. It's not there. There's nothing there. Only the horizon.
Another big shout out to They Lie Ohio. Thanks a million.
There are buildings beyond the horizon. There's an airport beyond the horizon. We can't see that either.
Are you saying it can't be tested? You just have to accept it. It's missing. There we go. There's your answer. End of subject.
Because we can't see it. That's a test.
He could
Are you
test it
saying
by
that's
raising up.
test?
He could
That's the
test
end
it
of the
by,
test.
by
As
gaining
far as you're
altitude.
concerned, Huey, that's the end of the test. That's the matter over.
I'm saying if
So
those
you're
things were there,
satisfied
we'd
with
be
that. So
able
when
to see
Anthony
them.
wants to
There's
take
a
it further
reason
and say, can we test your claims? You're saying, don't do
we
that.
can't see the buildings or the airport because they're also below the horizon. They're not there. They're just not there.
When he's trying to explain to you, he's trying to explain to you by looking at a different angle.
He's not doing very
Why-
well.
Why you
He's saying that the aircraft's obscured by buildings, and there are no buildings. All there is the horizon. That's all you can see. If the buildings were there, we'd be able to see
all
them.
I'm asking is, are you saying that the picture is conclusive and we don't need to do any more tests?
What do you want to test?
What more tests do you need to see?
So that's
Looking
what you're
at it
saying.
and
That you're
calling
basically
it.
saying you don't need any more tests. The pictures are conclusive.
What test, Spurs? Looking at it and calling it buildings is not a test.
Just answer the question if you can answer the question. Is
Looking
the
at
end?
it and
You've just
calling
told
it
us
buildings
that is, here's
is
the
not
picture. Accept
a
it.
test.
Don't need to do anything else. Or should Anthony look at it
Yeah,
further?
you do need to do something else, Spurs. Look
right.
at
So
it.
this is what Anthony's trying to do, and you're telling him
Look at
that
it.
it's wrong. The
What's
picture is
wrong
just
about
one angle.
I think
that needs to
Anthony
be
What's wrong
confirmed
about it, Spurs?
from all
See,
positions.
Spurs, Anthony is trying to tell us that there are buildings there at night time, which we can't see, apparently. So how do you know they're buildings?
That's what he's trying to explain.
he's
And
not
if
doing
you
anything.
that, you'd see the airport
Doing
as
a
well.
terrible job of it.
Extremely well lit. You can see an airport for 20 miles. You can see the lights of the runway for a very long way. That's not there either. That's gone too.
Is there one flat roof over all of those buildings?
I didn't actually see all of the presentation. All I saw was that he was trying to give a different perspective on why we can see those buildings. So
Yeah, it's called BS. That's your perspective. BS. Show the picture, Riley. See, they're showing a
Is this
plasma
clear?
ball.
Plasma.
If you look closely, you can see him. He's wanking.
Why can't we see the airport? You ever seen how brightly lit airports are? We should be able to see that, shouldn't we?
Well, the inverse square law.
I can see the city lights of Melbourne coming down from the plateau when I drive in from Ballarat here in Victoria, Australia. I can see the city lights of Melbourne from over 70 kilometres away. It's because I have altitude and I can see the whole city lit up.
Same coming into
Lights
Vegas and Boulder
easily
Highway.
come.
My problem here is that you're saying that this
7
can't
miles.
be. You're saying that it's conclusive, and you're saying that's the end of it. We've told you here's the
Well,
picture,
yes.
and there's nothing more you can do about it. That doesn't sound right.
Pretty much it.
Spurs, what we're calling bullshit on is claiming that that's buildings hiding what we see when we don't see buildings. Because if the buildings there, we would see the lights of the buildings. And now you're trying to say we can't see the lights of the buildings for some reason, and yet I can see city lights from 70 kilometres away. And this is nowhere near 70 kilometres away. Saying that we can't see the buildings because we can't see the lights is crap, and yet you're asserting that there are buildings there, but we can't see them. So how
Yeah,
can
we
you
can
prove
see,
your
we can
assertion?
see the wing beacons of the aircraft, red and blue.
Well, it needs
Yeah.
explaining, and that's what I think
We
Anthony's
can see,
trying
we
to
can
do.
see the beacons from the wingtips of the
Yeah,
aircraft.
but for
We can
you
see
to just
those.
say, well, that's because of the horizon curvature, that's not good enough. We need to
Spurs,
find out why we
Spurs.
can see those buildings.
Why can you see the lights from the wingtips of the aircraft and not the buildings? Why?
Because they're designed to show up that bright so that they don't have
They're
a
not
crash
bright.
in midair.
The beacons on the wing, the nose light is bright. That's the spotlight, but the wingtip beacons are not very bright.
No, they
So
have to be
Rand is trying to
extremely bright.
assert now that the wingtip lights on an aeroplane are brighter than an entire city.
No,
Yeah.
they're brighter than a light bulb from
What
somebody's
a load
house.
of
We're not talking
one
about a
light
light
globe.
bulb.
One light globe is not a city.
Yeah, but they're all made up of the
Seriously,
same.
dude.
They're all made
Seriously,
of the same.
dude. Are you going to try and assert that we can't see one light globe?
One light globe. Well, put it this
A
way.
city consists of millions of light globes.
Okay, well, if
Not
you
one.
just ask me a question, I'm going to answer you. When I look across at Blackpool from 20 miles away, I can see certain lights, but I can't see other lights. I can't see individual lights in people.
That's a
would that
clue
be
right
because
there.
they're obstructed from the horizon?
All street
That's a
lamps.
massive clue, Randy. That's a
All street
massive
lamps.
clue.
But what I can see are lights
What
that
is-
are designed to be seen from a distance, i.e., illuminations that are incredibly bright.
Why don't
The
you pay
beacon on the
attention to
top
that?
of the big one, the Blackpool Tower
Hey,
lights,
Ranty,
they're the kind of
Ranty.
lights that are designed to be seen from a long way away.
Ranty, what would be the point of constructing lighthouses if we can't see lights more than 7 miles away? Kind of defeats the purpose of doing it, doesn't it?
Say
Yeah,
that
why
again.
build them all
That's
high?
one light.
Why not build lighthouses, short
Yeah.
lighthouse? Why would
Why
they-
waste all that time, energy, and resources building them high?
What are you talking about? A
No
lighthouse?
point building a lighthouse if you can't see the
Uh,
lights
where
more
is
than
it?
7 miles away.
So where are the lighthouses positioned?
Well, come on.
Right next to the ocean. The tides come in and out. Do you know that the tides go higher and lower? Do you know that when a storm rolls in, the waves can go 30, 40 feet? If you put a lighthouse that was only 20 foot high, there's every chance that it will get swallowed up at some point in a storm.
Did you know that the sun appears to rise and set?
Can you answer that? You asked me a question and I've answered it. Does that sound
You asked me a
logical?
stupid question.
Does that sound logical?
You and your tides. You think you got bubble tides.
Does it sound logical that that's
You're
why they need to
flat
have a
water
lighthouse so high? Then you're retarded then.
Flat water bubble tide. There's nothing you won't claim, Randy. Nothing.
No, you just asked why did they build lighthouses so high? It's not so that they can see a lot further because they got elevated in height. It's simply so that it avoids getting swallowed up by the tides and the storms.
Okay, so the tides rise
Nonsense.
above the boats, Randy.
The what? Sorry.
The tides are rising up way up above the boats.
What boats?
The boat that the lighthouses are to see.
I'm tired of arguing with
Hang on,
ignorance.
what are you on about? We're talking about the light from the lighthouse. Where does a boat come into this?
How can there be tides?
That's
on a
what-
float?
I just want to clear something up, okay, real quick. They don't build lighthouses 30 or 40 feet to defeat your waves. They build them 320 feet and shit like that, stuff like that. Excuse my French. So there's no real reason for you to try and argue that it's because of waves. Unless I've ever seen a
If you look at the Isle of
305
Man, for
wave.
instance, the lighthouses on the Isle of Man are about.
Wave? Have you ever seen a 300-foot wave?
Hold
No.
on.
Well-
What tides
Yeah,
You
rise
just
above
quoted
the
a
boat?
300-foot wave.
Well,
show
several
me-
structures which function as lighthouses exceed the height of an inch. Among
Okay.
the Liberty at
So if you
300
go to the Isle of Man and you look at the lighthouses on the Isle of Man, you tell me the height of them because they're around about 100 feet or so above the actual water level.
Yeah, that's still double. That's
Hold
still
on.
twice as high as we need for your waves.
Hold on, please. What
Ranty,
tides?
How high above the tide, the maximum tide would the light need to be?
What, in Blackpool?
No,
Anywhere. How high would the light
Well, the tides here are pretty
above the
dramatic.
maximum tide?
how high above the boat does the tide rise?
Does it matter?
My
Yes.
God, Randy, think about
It
it.
really does. Seriously.
No, it doesn't matter.
The boats are in the water, you dipshit.
Of course, the boats are in the water.
The tide rises, so does the boat. Do you not get that?
What's your point?
Holy
What do you mean? What's my point?
that you need to go. That you need to go home.
I am talking about the design of
You
the
need to
lighthouse.
go
The
home.
lighthouses are positioned right on the sea.
Hold on.
Tides.
Can we hear
No.
Curve's point? Can we just hear what Curve's point is, please?
Okay.
The ships are in the water. The tide rises, the boats rise. The tides do not rise above the boats.
Okay, yeah.
What are you talking about?
You asked me why did they build lighthouses so high? And I said because they are positioned right on the sea edge, and when the tides come in, they will have enveloped a smaller building. So if the lighthouse is only 40 foot tall,
No,
every chance that the building would
No,
be
no,
swept
we're talking
away
about
with
the height
incoming
of the
tide.
tower.
No, this is
We're
what
talking
we're
about the height of the
about.
tower. We're
No,
talking about the height of the tower.
This is what you
not
asked
waterproofing the
10
base.
minutes ago.
We're talking about the height of the tower.
No, you asked this 10 minutes ago.
No, you don't even understand.
You asked why did they build
questions,
the lighthouse so high?
Yes, so tall.
And I said,
top
yes.
the light.
And I said, so that it doesn't get enveloped by the ocean.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh my God.
Can I? How high above the maximum tide would that light need to be? Wouldn't a foot do it?
Not really.
Why not? So long as it clears the maximum tide.
So you got a maximum tide, and then you have a hurricane that comes in that creates another 30-foot swell on top of that. Work it out yourself.
Wait a second.
I don't have to spell this out to you. Lighthouses were built 100 years ago. They were built for a purpose.
Where have you ever seen a lighthouse that's protruding only half of it above the water? Can you show us that?
Have you ever seen a lighthouse in a storm?
Have you seen a lighthouse where 50% of the base is submerged by water? Can you show us that?
Can you? All right, I bet I could find one for the next time we have this debate. Let's leave it at that for now, because I can't be bothered looking right now. Because firstly, you know that it's true because you will have seen them before. You know that they are out there. You know the reasons why they need to be so high. You're just being pedantic and asking stupid questions and trying to derail the conversation.
Can you click on my screen, please? Okay. This here is the Portland Lighthouse. It's a lighthouse at Portland in Victoria, Australia. It's right on the edge here. You can see it on a cliff. Okay. Guess how much the tides vary here? All right. The tides vary here by a massive, and now you can see I've got the tide variation. Wow. The tides vary by a height of 1 meter. What a massive tide. That surely would engulf that lighthouse. Right? They don't build the lighthouse because of the tides. They build the lighthouse so that the light shines further over the horizon.
Just out of interest, Paul, can I just ask Paul a quick question? Sorry, Paul. Just out of interest. I know you probably can't see my mouse, but how high do you think the where the grass is at the top of the, if you want to call it a cliff, how high do you think that is between the water line that we see and the top of the cliff?
There's another
at least 10 meters.
So would you say that the water has never reached that point?
It would maybe reach that point in an extreme. It wouldn't rise to that point. You'd get sea spray. That's all.
How? So it's just that's the erosion that we see is just sea spray that does that.
Well, the erosion is from the base of the cliff. The erosion happens at the base of the cliff, and the cliff falls down. Okay.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Okay. So the tides here don't vary much
going
at all.
up. See the red. There's a red hoop in the middle there. It's not that the tide's going to come anywhere near that.
Okay. Can you go? No. Can you look for me Chicken Rock Lighthouse in the Isle of Man, and tell me if you can see the watermarks that go halfway up the lighthouse?
Just Huey, what was you said something about the band around the middle? Was I didn't quite catch what was your point without sounding rude.
Who, me? No,
Huey said he pointed out that there's a red band around the middle.
They're the height they are because otherwise the tides might flood the light. I'm looking at that lighthouse that Paul just showed us, and so you're not going to see tides
and the point
up past that red bit in the middle there.
And the point is also that they're building a house right next to the lighthouse here.
Right,
so if they're expecting water to come up around this area, why would they build a house right next to the lighthouse? Why would they need to build the lighthouse this high on top of a cliff if they're expecting water to come up here and build a house right next to it? They still are building the lighthouse high, even though they're building a house right next to it.
You asked me to show you to find a
argument that they're building the light. The argument that they're building the lighthouse high because to avoid the water is nonsense. Because otherwise, why would they build a house right next to it?
Okay, Paul, would you please check for me Chicken Rock Lighthouse, please, seeing as you're presenting?
Are you incapable? Can you not look up your own evidence, Ranty?
No, well, he's presenting, so I want to get his opinion because he can see it.
All right, well, while you're doing that, can you clarify something? Are you saying that the tide rises between the ship and the lighthouse to block the view of the lighthouse from the ship?
I wasn't talking about the view. Please click on that image, please.
My God, that's what we were talking about. about visibility of the lighthouse for the boats. And you're trying to blame it on tides. They have to put the light up above the tides because the tides rise.
So do you see this image that's up the lighthouse? Can you see the?
Just ignore it. Just ignore it.
I do, and I'm laughing because the bottom half of it's in shadow.
But,
Okay, well maybe
I
you're
mean,
looking at.
sorry, Randy, to interrupt you.
How about you look at the top image, the where it's in the water? Oh, you're
just
looking at.
Trying to ask Paul one more question. Just. I mean, this is all new to me. I've never given any consideration to lighthouses, but would the spray? I mean, obviously that would count as sort of things that would. It's stuff that gets in the way of the light, the spray. So if there was a meter swell and it had a whole load of spray, would that not be a good enough reason to have it higher, just to escape the spray?
That's another good point.
I mean, it's a lot higher than the meter, though, isn't it? He's saying that.
Yeah, but the spray goes into the air. That's what I'm saying. The spray goes into the air. If it's particularly turbulent, there'd be a lot of spray, and that would create a lot of, stuff that the light couldn't get through, physically couldn't get through. So making it high would avoid all that.
Wait a second. What do you mean light couldn't physically get through?
Well, it's crap in the air that you can't get through.
On the other side of the horizon that wouldn't be able to see it if it was short can see it. It's literally the use. That's why it's useful.
Can you present me?
I didn't catch the beginning of that, Grim. Sorry. Can you say that again?
It's the boats on the other side of the horizon wouldn't be able to see it if they were shorter. They'd be on the other side of the horizon of it. The tower's taller, so the boats can actually see it and make their way home.
So your argument is that it needs to be high to clear the curve of the Earth.
I mean, it's as simple as that. It's like if I got my little ball over here, I could show you again the ball. There's stuff on the other side of the ball. The taller it is, the faster you can see it.
Okay, no, fair enough. I understand. Your guy's argument is it needs to clear the curve of the Earth. Fair enough. That's your argument. Fair enough.
Could you present me?
Ships at the other end used to help the argument too, because why did they put their crow's nests at the top of the mast? So that they could see even further over the horizon.
Actually, it's because the crows, they like to feed them.
Actually, but the process was there was a safe place to scramble to case the tide submerge the boat above the decks, so they all you scrambling up and hiding in the crow's nest to avoid the tides.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So can you see the lower part of this lighthouse here? Can you see where it's all?
I think that sunburn Ranty got in the summer there has longer lasting effects.
Yeah, you see, you're just trying to derail what I'm trying to present here, which is evidence that the water does indeed go at least a third of the way up this lighthouse.
Is that what that is?
Situation. That one's down in the ocean, bro. Right next to it.
But is that what that is?
Right.
What do you mean? Is that what it is? Can you see the green algae on here? Can you see the dark colours on the bottom of this lighthouse? Clearly, it's right next to the ocean, in the ocean, in fact. And this is why this is the design of the lighthouses. This is just an atypical design of a lighthouse.
There is another consideration. We're not picking up on.
Ranty's gonna make them eat crow's nest.
That's the top of the spray there.
No, you just asked me to show you where lighthouses get enveloped halfway. Well, there's just an image right now where you can see what can happen.
That's not.
Ranty, point taken. No, I agree with that. Okay, but that doesn't apply to all lighthouses. I clearly showed you a lighthouse where that doesn't happen. Right? They built this lighthouse that I showed you. Right?
That
I showed
you,
you can see no algae growing on the lighthouse that I showed you. None.
Sure, but I think Ranty's point, though, is that if you're saying that they're only high to clear the curvature of the Earth, and he shows one at sea level that's enveloped up to a third, obviously that's much, much closer to sea level when it's a third enveloped with water. So that kind of destroys the argument that they're tall to clear the curvature of the Earth.
Less effective lighthouse.
It's much, much closer to sea level, the one that Ranty's just presented, isn't it?
You guys don't realize. All that says is that's a less effective lighthouse. You won't be able to see that one as far as
so that one's just not a very good design. Okay.
Yeah, it's poorly built.
The taller, the better.
Has there been lots of crashes near that lighthouse, Ranty, or what? Is there lots of boats that have been? Is there lots of wrecks underneath that ocean because of the ineffectiveness of that lighthouse?
There's not that many actually. That's in the North Sea, so it's doing a pretty good job. Or
Guys,
has-
there is another reason why they might build up lighthouses bigger, and it's not because of the curvature of the Earth. I'm going to share my screen, Neith, if you present, because this is really the main reason, and I'm surprised Ranty didn't spot it, because it's like the one thing that we talk about, me and Ranty, all the time.
You're not going to get to say it because you're on the phone now.
Going.
Hang on.
No, but going back to that image where you said it was on the rock and it was way up above the water. Well, tell me a place where else they could have placed that lighthouse on that peninsula. Was there
That's right.
an-
But on
was
top
an
of the cliff,
rock?
why would have they had to have built it high? The spray clearly never reaches up that high because we see no damage or algae or anything growing on that, and we see buildings right next to it too. There was no reason to build a tall lighthouse here. Clearly, the spray doesn't get up that high here. Why would you build a house in a position where you would get spray all the time? I couldn't think of a worse place to build a house than where you're constantly enveloped in spray. No, you wouldn't do that. It'd be stupid to do that. Yet they still build the lighthouse tall, right on the edge of a tall cliff.
But you're drawing a
And how
non sequitur conclusion, though, Paul. You're drawing a non sequitur conclusion that it's there because of the curvature of the Earth that needs clearing. Well, that's a non sequitur.
No, it's not really, because we actually know that by clear demonstration.
What's non sequitur?
Right. Nath, could you share my screen?
Yeah, you are.
All right, this is the same video from Jaren. I think somebody asking the questions today has been obviously watching the same video that I'm watching, but this is a video of a lighthouse in question, and Jaren shows that you get a big, massive mirage on the horizon, which apparently gives the perception of curvature to certain people in the world. But to everybody else in the world, we realize there's an atmospheric thing that sits on the horizon that stops what we can see. We can't see it; it's opaque. We're seeing here, it's reflecting the sky. So for whatever atmospheric reasons, the lighthouse has to sit above it, because from distance you can't see the lighthouse unless it gets above this band of refracted, this dirty air, whatever's going on here. And I'll be honest, I don't understand it, but I just know it's there. Jaren's making the perfect point. So if the perception is this is because it needs to get around the curve of the Earth, well, no, it's because it needs to rise above the atmospheric condition, the atmospheric effect that we call mirage. We kind of had this the other day when boats were like bending, sitting and floating in the sky. It's obviously the case that we have this effect, and that's why they build them, to get over this band of atmospheric effect. So that's the real reason for lighthouses being tall. It's not because of curvature of the Earth. It's because of the atmospheric conditions that we see all the time on the horizon when doing sea-type observations. Does anybody disagree with that?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
I do.
Showing videos of curvature. It's hilarious.
Yeah, because I see all kinds of stuff that doesn't have what you're talking about.
I would like to actually go back to Soundly's video so we can take a look at Soundly's video and compare it to your video of the stretched, elongated island there that you wanted to show right after earlier. I wanted to go back over that because I didn't get to see if Soundly's video of that building was jumping all around like your horizon was.
Well, hang on. Can we just close this point off while we're on it? Do you guys not agree that there's
closed it already with the
big deal?
Well, your logical fallacy, but go ahead.
Well, Curve thinks that there's he disagrees with this, but you can see that there is sky for some reason being like we know that this is land. We know that there are things here like trees and stuff.
We know the reason.
Where's the bottom of those buildings, Riley? Why can't we see the bottoms of those buildings?
Because they're hiding land.
What we're trying to do is establish why lighthouses are higher, and you guys have got a non sequitur conclusion that it is because of the curvature of the Earth, and what Riley is doing is presenting evidence.
So we can see that there is land here. Now, your perception is it's behind the curve of the Earth, but if we look at the original picture that's being claimed to be the curve of the Earth, we can see that the land is still there, but for some reason the sky is being mirrored on below it as either a superior mirage from the sea or an inferior mirage from the sky, whichever. So I'm just trying to find the relevant clip. There we go. So you can see that this blue band here is the sky. Why that's there, I don't know, but that means that the land is still behind it, but we can't see it. Therefore, it hasn't fallen behind the curvature of the Earth because you can't prove that it has. We can prove that there's something optical going on here because the buildings are still there, but there's some kind of, it's as if somebody's got the highlight and just going right the way across it. And
no, it's the opposite of the image on the top. So you see sky at the bottom,
Yeah.
From
Why is that?
the top, it's flipped. See, the
Why-
bottom,
why
the
is
top
that?
of the building is also at the bottom of the building. See
Yeah.
that image
Why-
closely?
So it's
See
not
how
curvature. then,
tapers. Are you going to talk over me while I talk seriously, kiddo?
By your
I
own
mean, have a little respect.
It's not curvature.
Hey, you see the hello? I'm trying to make a point. Is that cool? You mean you just only love your own voice? See how the bottom of that building tapers off like a mirror to the top?
Yeah.
Right. So now you know you're looking at the sky at the bottom of that line there.
That's what I'm
That
saying.
is the horizon.
That's exactly what I'm
Well-
saying. Well, it means that we're not looking at curvature if you accept something.
No, you are looking at that's the horizon at the hard line right there.
All right. So obviously you've never
You're
seen this
seeing in
before.
the
so-
atmosphere, the top of the building on the bottom of the building. Does everyone else notice that? How the top of the building tapers into a point, just like the bottom of that building tapers into a point, because he's looking at the mirror image from top to bottom. It's a Fata Morgana mirage, dude.
It's not a Fata Morgana. It's an inferior or a superior.
Okay, but would you all concede
Fata
that there's an
Morgana is a form of
effect?
superior mirage,
Would
dude.
you concede that there's an effect that if that
You need to
land
get on-
was
you
a
need to get up
boat,
on your game, man, because you get plopped every time.
would you
Plot
concede that
hard.
that land,
Everybody
were it to be a
that
boat, would
clear-
have something in between it and a
No,
lighthouse
lower.
at ground
Right,
level?
yep, right there. Yeah.
Nope.
Sorry, just want to get this across, Grim. Would you concede that there is something between that land, were it to be a boat, and a lighthouse, were it to be at ground level? There's an obstruction there. Would you agree?
Nope.
Okay.
Saying.
Okay.
Not at that line. Go the horizon line is
What?
at the bottom of the water, right there. The horizon.
So
Dark.
what is it we're looking at then, Grims? Tell us what we're looking at, because to me,
That's
it
the
looks like we're
atmospheric mirror. That's atmospheric mirroring right
seeing-
there.
Right, so by definition, then it can't be curvature, can it?
happens in the atmosphere,
Hold
dude.
on.
You've
That's
just
a non sequitur.
Stop.
right. If it's
Where is
Saying that
where
it can't
is
be
the-
curvature is a non sequitur.
right, there's
where
no
does
evidence
the
of
water
curvature, but
actually
there's evidence
end
of
in this
atmospheric effect.
where does the water actually end in this image?
We don't know because we can't see it.
Are you
I see
not
it.
saying it's where the yellow line is?
No,
Are you not claiming that that's
that would be
actually
the apparent
water
water
up to
line.
the yellow?
That's where the water line ends, right there.
Yeah, but the problem is these waves are all very close to us, and we can tell that because we can see individual waves on the big. So big things are close to
You
us.
can see the sky in between them, the humps of it, so you know it's lower than that.
Yeah, but
even.
the thing is, though, Grim, you've just admitted that there is something atmospheric miragey going on
Yeah,
here.
but
That
here's
means that the buildings are not behind the curve.
You see the dips in between the waves?
Yeah,
It's
because
lower.
the waves are
It's
close,
not higher, it's lower.
and they're close to you.
All right. What
Well,
is
no, they're
between,
not. You're zoomed in on them. They're not close to me.
what is
Close.
between the top of the water and the yellow
You're
line?
zoomed way in, dude.
Mirage.
Is that all sky?
It's way out there.
There's some reflection
That's
on the
all
underside.
Reflection on what? Is that water or air?
Air.
It's air. Yeah.
Okay,
all
so the
air.
horizon is actually just the water again.
No, this is
That's
mirage.
right.
This is like looking in a desert.
But the horizon,
What he's showing you there, Lizzie.
No, but
pick one.
There's a
Where
mirror
is
line
the
that's been
horizon?
drawn in
Where's
for
the
you, Curved.
water?
You can see that there's
It's
a mirror
the-
reflection. Can you see that? Can you see that it's mirroring
Reflection on what?
on the line
I'm
that's
trying
been
to
drawn?
establish. I
Two different.
want, I
from
want the
one
end
to
of the
another.
water.
you can't see the end of the water
That's
because
the
it's being
point.
blocked.
Between
What?
those two yellow lines, we don't know what's happening there. We
Yeah.
don't know if that's a distance.
no,
between
no,
the
no,
bo-
no,
we don't
no.
know the distance
No,
between
you're
the
missing
bottom
Curve's
yellow
point.
line.
He's asking
and
for a
the top
reason,
yellow
not
line.
because he doesn't know.
So-
No,
So
he
that
answered the point specifically.
Anyone can call what's happening over here. You can't tell. Nobody knows where the true horizon is.
I agree.
We see an apparent horizon.
I do.
It looks like
I know
the
exactly
horizon.
what's happening.
where
But
the,
you're trying to have it both ways.
You're being really silly.
That's
No,
what I hear.
Sorry,
you
just
know,
so we can move on. Would we all agree that it would be useful to get above that?
Yeah,
About
the
what?
point was about lighthouses being tall, right?
Yeah. So is it useful to get above that, or do you think it's just convenient to just do it at sea level and that's fine?
Above, well, that's what I'm trying to figure out here. What you guys are claiming.
But without
while you're
needing to,
still
we don't
figuring it
need
out,
to.
we'll
Would you
move
say, Curved, that it's useful to get above it or not? Should we look straight through that? Because it looks
I
like
want
it's
to know
got all
what
sorts of
it
stuff to look through.
Is
Yeah, I
the
don't even
point
know.
is, Curved, is
where-
that you're
where's
saying
the
the bottom yellow line is the
Where does
horizon.
this video
So
come
we're
from?
saying,
What is this we're
how
showing?
can it be anything beyond?
Interference, Grim.
Bottom
Interference
yellow
with
line,
what we can look at.
Everything should be going down, yet we see stuff behind it and beyond. Not possible on a board.
Just keep talking until you wear everybody out, even though you're wrong. So whatever, dude.
Well, the point I'm making is we're not seeing curvature. We're clearly seeing some atmospheric effect, and that
It's
would
a
be the
non
reason why.
sequitur. Saying that
No,
you're
it's
not
not.
seeing curvature because it's an atmospheric effect is a
Yeah,
non-sequitur.
no
No, but
curvature.
the thing is, though, we have evidence here that is atmospheric, so it's not non sequitur.
So yeah, I
Why
think
aren't we seeing the same thing?
we'll all agree with that.
Claiming that
Anthony,
it's not
sorry, I've got to
curvature
let them get their words in
I'll be
too.
looking
So
at
Anthony,
Sam's,
you're
video,
interrupting
and it
them
looks
at the
like
moment.
He's the only
You know,
person to use a
The
distorted
reason
you,
it
Spurs.
mirages
Sorry,
like that is
hold on,
because
guys.
it's
Hold
curved.
on.
and
Let's just get this
flat
back in
earthers.
order. Right, so you've presented it, Anthony. Wonderful. Now, these guys have also got a conclusion, which is that the lighthouses are high because they're getting out of the way of the curve. So let's see what they present. You've done a good job. Now, that's it. Let's see what they have in this regard. Or they might want to just move on to something else because they have nothing.
We want to go back to the
Didn't
Marriott
we
building.
already destroy it though? That's the thing. Why
Well,
do we
let's see
keep
your
pretending
evidence,
like it
Grim.
didn't
Let's
happen?
see evidence that lighthouses are high because they need to get past the curve. Let's see that evidence.
Yeah,
Just concede
we've
it's
shown
not
for why it
curved.
would be needed because there are. atmospheric
Sorry,
effects.
Anthony. You've done your bit now. I've got to be rude to you and just say, please let them get on with it. Let's see what they have. If there's a long period of
She
silence,
showed
so be
evidence
it.
for us. I'm surprised you don't understand this.
I'm surprised you don't understand it too.
We understand that you don't need evidence to make claims, especially because you're a baller. It's only the
It's
flatters
just
that
all
need to
talk and
produce
it's all
evidence.
theory. You want to see something? Show us. Show us your claim.
Ain't got no claim.
You do. You have a claim that lighthouses are high because they need to get round the curvature of the Earth. Now let's see some evidence, boys. In your own time.
Like
Evidence of what? Curvature of the Earth? Vernal
Evidence.
equinox.
Shall I say it a third time?
How about that? Vernal
Lighthouses. Let's
equinox.
make a statement
That's
for you,
your
Grim. I'll make a statement.
well, that's curvature of the
Lighthouses
Earth.
are
No, I'm
high
not making
because
a
they
second
need
you're
to
assuming
get round the
curvature
curve of the
right?
Earth. That's a statement right there.
Am I correct or am I incorrect?
You tell me, my friend.
You tell me.
This is wonderful evidence. Very telling to the audience.
What? The vernal equinox can't be explained without having a sphere?
So you do want to move on to a different subject.
It does happen.
Lovely.
No, it's the same subject.
Jim, step by
You're
step.
saying I'm
Let's-
assuming
let's
it's a
address
sphere.
each point. So
You're saying that this whole thing is the point, right? You're saying that I'm assuming it's a sphere. Are you not?
look, you
That's
made
the
a
problem
claim
with
that
my
the
argument
lighthouses are
here.
there
Is it
because of
not?
curvature?
Hello?
So we want proof of that.
Hello?
Leave him to it, Spurs.
Saying I'm assuming. You keep on stating that I'm assuming curvature, don't you? It's cute. And that I'm assuming that's why lighthouses were built tall, right? But I just told you evidence of the curve would of the sphere would be the vernal equinox.
How does that prove?
So how could I be assuming that it's because it's a sphere when I already know it's because
Can I
it's a
try?
sphere?
Can I try?
Can you explain that?
Yes, please,
Can I
Huey. We
try-
just got a lot of stuttering from Grim.
Have you heard of the
Yeah,
Burj
that's what I
Khalifa? Do you know the Burj Khalifa?
The Burj Khalifa, yeah, definitely.
Okay, and you know that it's a tourist attraction that you can observe a sunset from the ground. Take a high elevator, a fast elevator to the top of the Burj Khalifa and see the sunset again. Right?
I've done it. Taipei 101.
Right, you can do that standing at the beach, lying down.
So-
I've done it in a tall building. Taipei. Yeah, I've done it.
Demonstrate that the higher up you are, the farther your line of sight is. Right?
But you should look down though, Huey, at some point.
Shut up, Spurs.
You're
I'm
forgetting
talking.
the down part.
Shut
You're
up.
forgetting the down part.
You actually do, but you can't tell over that.
Don't tell us. Don't tell us. The higher you go, the further you can see without
Spurs,
looking down. over the
Spurs,
horizon.
right? Spurs, I've got to do this. We've got a question on the table. Why are lighthouses high? And the answer he's giving, I want to get. If he's saying because if you go up the Burj Khalifa elevator, great. That's wonderful. If that's his evidence, let him give it.
Yeah. Thank you, Nathan. So you will agree that you can see farther, you can see the sunset again from the top, right? So doesn't that demonstrate why the higher the lighthouse is, the farther the light will travel? Isn't it the same thing?
In response to that, let me just ask you:
Shut
how
up, Nathan. Nathan.
how
Sorry,
does that?
Riley. Let Nathan answer, please. Nathan.
You're asking me a question. I'm just waiting for your evidence that that's the reason. If that's your reason, then fine.
Well, I'm saying you would agree that the higher up you go on the Burj Khalifa, you can see the sunset again. Therefore, you're seeing farther, right?
I've already
You've
told
seen
you
the sun.
twice that I've done it at Taipei 101.
So why is it any different to the lighthouse being higher up and the light going farther?
If that's your
How's that
reason,
any
then great. That's your reason. Good. Thanks, Huey.
You asked. You asked for evidence. There it is.
Huey, I'd argue that that's the exact same thing.
Yeah, that's my point.
But that doesn't support
You're going up higher, the line of sight increases across the curve.
Yeah,
That's
but if you go
that same principle as a
Yeah, but
lighthouse
you-
and higher and the
There it
light
is.
mode
There it
farther.
is. It's all right. Presupposition has been inserted. Thank you, Huey.
No. What presupposition?
That we have a curve.
Well, all right. Forget the curve. You're seeing farther, right?
Farther
So your
across
line
that
of sight
flat plane.
extended
We
by
are
the-
indeed. That's right. Across the flat plane.
Your line of sight has been extended by the elevation of the Burj Khalifa. You agree?
But not looking down, Huey. This is
Shut
why
up.
you're missing the
Shut
point.
up, Spurs. I'm talking to Nathan, please. Nathan,
You've
you'll
asked
agree
and got
that
an answer.
if you
What's next, Huey? What else have you got? Is that
the
it?
elevation, line of sight is extended, right?
Same point.
That's why you can
Yes,
see-
we've heard that point 3 times. Have you got anything else?
Okay.
Or is that it?
You agree with that? You agree with that, do you?
It's your point. You've made it. I'm not going to agree or disagree. That's your evidence. Good for you.
Okay, there we go. He asks for evidence. When he gets it, he says, "Well, we have to agree to disagree."
I'm not
Well, no, I
agreeing. I'm not disagreeing. I'm not agreeing to
said-
disagree. I've asked you to present the evidence, not question
I
me.
just
You
did, and
presented
agree
it.
with it, and I'm pointing out that the higher you go, the farther
Right,
the
just
line
have a
of
look
sight
at the
is
Gators
extended.
Hold on,
demonstration.
Spurs.
It's showing that
Sirs, shut the
the
hell
higher
up.
you go, Huey, you look
Huey,
down.
don't make me boot you. You seem to be getting annoyed. Don't get annoyed. There's no need.
All right.
Okay, let's
Okay.
move on because he's not going to answer.
Sorry,
Nathan's not going to answer it. Negator's just joined and he wants to demonstrate that the higher you go, you have to look down to see further. And he's showing us right now.
Well, before I've got my screen showing at the minute. Jaron dealt with this in his last video. Basically,
it's you.
yeah. If the lighthouse or the sun is setting on the horizon, if you're looking at the lighthouse or the sun setting and you're at ground level, you're looking through the dirtiest layer of air, and we know there's a mirage that it blocks out what we see. If you change your elevation by going up the Khalifa building, then you're now looking downwards towards whatever it was that you were looking at, but you're most importantly looking above. You're out of this dirty air, and we see this over and over again.
Riley, you're claiming the
Let's
sun
hear
is
much better
physically down in this
lighthouse.
layer of what you call dirty air.
Can you guys give me a second when you're done with that last question there?
Do you get that, Riley?
Sorry,
You're
say that
claiming
again.
the sun, when you're looking at this, you're down at the ground. You're at the beach. You're looking over just the ocean. You see the sunset on the horizon. You're claiming that the sun is physically down there, going down into this dirty air, what you call dirty air.
What I'm saying is that we look through the dirty air at the sun setting, but when you
So,
go,
and how do you do that if the sun is
dirty
not
air.
in
Love
that quote dirty air unquote?
you're looking through more moisture, aren't you? Because it's the
How do
dirty
you
air.
do that if the sun is not physically down in the dirty air you're looking through in a straight line to the sun
But the sun
at the
is,
horizon?
Big shout out to Shill Scanner for the super chat contribution. Thank you very much, Shill Scanner. Much obliged.
The ground, and a lighthouse gets you above it.
no, the lighthouse. Right, the point of the lighthouse is to try and get you above the mirage that we always see on the horizon.
That's
Well,
not
if
a
you go-
mirage. Sunset is not a mirage.
We
in and
just
of
did it.
itself.
So let me timestamp 38. So we see that we just went through this before, Kurt.
Why is the sun down at the
Well, yeah.
horizon?
I mean, yeah. Good example. You can falsify yourself right now. Why do you see a sunset in a lighthouse then?
Because right, listen, the claim was that if you go to the Khalifa, you then see the sun setting again.
Well, how
What
do you
I'm
see
saying
that
is,
inside of a
When you see
lighthouse?
the sun
though?
setting in the dirty air, you're
Oh.
looking through a lot more dense air. But when you go up the Khalifa, yes, you change your elevation angle, but you're also above the dirty air, so you can see more of the setting sun.
Lights out, buddy. Here, check
You're
this out.
saying
we
the
see
sun
the
is
stars,
physically
and yet we
down
see the
at
stars
close-
quite clearly on the horizon.
There's no dirty air where the stars are.
Sorry,
No
can I just
dirty
ask?
air. We see
Sorry,
the stars
Paul.
quite clearly on the horizon.
Neg just had something
I don't
presented.
understand how you
Did
guys
anybody want to
understand
talk through?
I
I
don't
know Neg
understand
can't
what they
normally.
keep
Sorry,
thinking.
Spurs.
You can't see the stars on a cloudy day. You see them on a clear
Neg
day.
just had something up. I know Neg very rarely gets the chance to speak. Did anybody want to talk through what Neg had up?
Well, this is important. If you guys want to see this, you'll know. If you don't want to see it, then you just might not know.
I can't hear you, Negator.
I've turned it right up. Try again, Neg. He's screen sharing. I don't know if somebody wants to talk through what Neg's presenting.
I have
to.
I have a suggestion as to what this dirty area is.
Negator's trying to talk and he's getting talked over.
Before they build these structures, engineers actually do these calculations. But if the Earth was flat, all they would need to do is increase the brightness, the luminosity of the lighthouse, not how high they build it. You know, and so if engineers back in the 19th century knew that the Earth had a curve to it and they had to build their lighthouses tall to peak over the curve of the Earth, you could verify this yourself. So, you know, the point I'm making here is that engineers who design lighthouses knew the Earth was round long before NASA ever existed. If the Earth was flat, there would be no need to build tall lighthouses.
So you think that you can just turn the brightness up and that'll do it?
Cloudy night.
That's just rubbish. That's just making an assertion in that video. He's just saying it. You might as well just say, have us on the panel say they don't make it because of that. That's just rubbish.
Yeah, it's simply non sequitur. That is truly a non sequitur.
This means that a lighthouse would be visible for hundreds, even thousands of miles, if not for the...
Yeah, let's mute that. I'm not having some video just take over the show. Sorry, Grim.
So with regards to the...
You had to mute me. You don't like it, huh?
No, I just don't want the video taking over the show.
Yeah, but the thing is,
the
claim was
finding out the truth.
The brightness of the light, and that's simply not true.
Yeah, well, how would you know? You muted it.
Simply not true.
How would you know?
We know it's simply not true.
Just say, look at it and say it's not true, and you don't even.
How do we know? How do we know?
That's
no.
That's
fair enough, Grim.
Bias problem, dude.
Fair enough, Grim. You tell us. Really. Tell us. I'll shut up anybody that interrupts you, Grim. You tell us.
Why?
I've asked everybody to present their evidence. Huey's done an outstanding job. Now you've got the floor. Don't just play a video. Tell us.
Oh, well, I mean, I'm tired of wasting my energy with that.
Sometimes you'd rather just play a video, right? That's why I muted you.
It's a lot easier to play this video than to just waste all my energy yelling and getting interrupted and all that.
Just told you, I'll stop anybody from interrupting you. You've got however long you need to explain why lighthouse is a tool to account for the Earth's curvature. Feel free, you've got the floor.
Well, why don't I
just play the video? Outstanding job, Nathan. Why do you need any more than that? I mean what's wrong with life?
Come on, Huey, you're about to interrupt Grim. Just let Grim have the floor.
He's already got the demonstrations set up, and he's going to explain what he's talking about. And, you know, if you really wanted to know, you would just listen to the video real quick.
I did. I listened to him make a non sequitur conclusion. So if you can explain it.
Well, you listened to the first part of the video, right? I didn't even play the first part, actually. I queued it up to when he started talking about the lighthouse, and he's going to continue to talk about the lighthouse for another 3.5 minutes. But you guys interrupted it. Yeah.
Can you not just tell us, Grim?
How many times? I don't know how many times you have to demonstrate.
It really doesn't matter to me. I mean, I'm not even freaking crazy over it like you guys.
I thought I already demonstrated that.
Huey, you've had your chance. It's Grim's turn. Come on, be reasonable to Grim. He's on your side.
Yeah, I'm not on anybody's side. I'm on the side of the truth. So.
I have a paper on the side. That's a paper. If we could read a paper out, it says why lighthouses are high. Usually, you can see them right about 1.2 miles. They use the curvature of the Earth, and when they're on the hill, they're shorter. So everyone knows you're about 1.25 miles away from land. It's on the side hangout chat. I can't get it, but if someone could pop it up, we could read it.
But can I respond to that statement? The assertion that they calculate for the curvature of the Earth with the lighthouses. On my screen now,
he's talking about the Everson formula right now.
on my screen now, let's go back to the point I made previously. The video that Grim V showed said that if the light was just brighter, we would see it. But if there was a light that was in this band of miragey stuff, then we would not see it because we're seeing sky. So
ask any airline pilot or ship navigator about the problem of navigating without calculating for the curve of the Earth.
Seriously, Grim? Literally, there was a great 20-second pause where you could have said whatever you like. Now you just want to play your video. I don't want to listen to 3 minutes of a video. Sorry.
the point that Grimm's video was making was that you could just make the lighthouse lights brighter. But if the lighthouse was sat in this band of dirty air, how would the brightness of the light have any effect? Because we clearly don't see the land that's there. So the light that's behind, for whatever reason, is not getting to the eye. So that assertion is simply fallacious. It's non sequitur.
How are we seeing the reflection?
Don't know. But we're not seeing the trees and the land that's behind here. So for some reason, we're seeing sky.
What is that? What are we looking at there?
It's called mirage of some kind.
No. Physically.
We're looking at mirage.
No, where? Where is this?
Does it matter where? We see it everywhere.
Yeah, it does matter.
No, it doesn't.
No, we don't see it everywhere.
Yeah, we do. Ranty, how many times do we...
I can show you a video where it's not there. So stop it.
Could I make a suggestion as to what that is?
So is that the end of the proof of the lighthouses being tall because they're accounting?
No,
I have
something in Hangouts.
I've just looked. There's nothing there, Tony. There's nothing in the side chat that I could find.
No, I think he's on about the Google Hangouts chat.
Yeah, the Google Hangouts chat.
It's not much use to me. Sorry.
If I was on a computer, I'd be able to do it. I'm sorry. Maybe Paul can do it, or
someone can pull it. I'd love to see that, Tony. I put the screen straight on you because I'd love to see that.
Lighthouse is tall because elevation extends the line of sight. I
Correct.
think you agree, Nathan. Using my example of the Burj Khalifa, you agree with that, right?
What side chat is it in, Tony?
the Google Hangouts.
For which hangout? It's not in this one.
Did someone mute me again? I'm screen sharing here, and there's a Fata Morgana Mirage. An example of a Fata Morgana Mirage. It's a much better example than the one Riley's trying to show. You can tell that that's what that is. If you look at this closely, okay, you can see this Fata Morgana Mirage. You see that it is a Fata Morgana Mirage seen from the coast of Queensland, Australia. I showed it the other day. So when you look at Riley's picture, whatever, you can see that the buildings are cut out just like this, way up high, higher than the line of the horizon. These are images. Obviously, this is reflection. How could there be top of the boat on the bottom of the boat if this was not a reflection? Okay, that's the problem. You guys are not paying attention to what we're looking at here and what we're trying to explain to you while we're trying to draw these lines, right? That's where the line would be, okay, for the mirage effect. And this is all atmosphere. All of this is atmosphere that this is happening in.
So,
because the boat is actually on the water down there, and you're seeing the image of
Hello. Can you drop so I can get back in? I'll bring you back in on Skype. Thanks. Tell me when, because I'll try again as soon as you drop.
Take a couple of seconds, won't it? Back to the screen.
Hello, Muncher.
Right, I'm gonna disconnect now, right?
Okay, tell me when.
I pressed. Now. I sniped you.
No. Just the call's full. There we go. I'm back in. Okay, we're all good. We're back in, and I think are we streaming still? Yes, we're all good. Everything's still working.
Yep.
Sorry, my internet dropped. I'm really sorry, guys. I'm going to bring Anthony back in on Skype because he dropped to let me back in. You are on the air, by the way.
Okay, could I make a suggestion about what this dirty air is?
Sure.
Okay. Well, we all know that the clouds are formed by the water evaporating and turning into clouds, basically. Would you agree? So what we're seeing is the difference between the liquid state of the water, which is obviously the sea as we perceive it, and then it changes into the gaseous state, which is the water vapor. So imagine you boiling your kettle, you get the same kind of effect. You've got the liquid state that's in the kettle. When it reaches a certain temperature, it boils off and it comes into a steam. And then obviously it won't go on forever. It will go up to a certain height and then it will dissipate. Well, basically that's the same effect that we see across all the bodies of water, rivers, lakes, seas. So when we're seeing this evaporation of the water that's being pulled up to go into these clouds, we are looking through that dirty air. That dirty air isn't dirty air, it's more liquidy water vapor that we're actually looking through. And that's why we get the reflections. You know, so sometimes we see the reflection buildings in the background being reflected backwards. You're looking through a layer of water.
Yeah, let Paul clear some things up here. You've got it up already.
Can I knock that one right on the head for a start? Okay, water evaporates very slowly, and water vapor by its very nature is entirely transparent. You do not see refraction effects just because there's water vapor in the air.
I think
refraction effects are mostly caused. No, Ranty. Refraction effects are caused by density changes in the air. And gee, wouldn't it seem counterintuitive, but air that's got water vapor in it is actually less dense than air that doesn't have water vapor in it. It's not what you think, okay? And another observation that anyone can do that knocks this whole nonsense of dirty air right on the head is that anybody can go out and look towards the horizon and see faint stars on the horizon through this so-called layer of dirty air.
What are you talking about?
I can do it any night. I can do that. I can do that any night of the week. I can do that any night.
Please.
Can I just finish what I was saying?
Hang on, Ranty. Hold on. Can I just jump in and add something to what Paul was saying?
Do it.
Please.
Absolutely.
I'd like to point out that Ranty started off by saying the reason lighthouses are to avoid the tides. Now it's dirty air because he heard Riley saying it.
I didn't say dirty air.
Yeah, you did.
I'm just saying why we're saying when we're looking at that image where we're seeing
the reflection. Dirty air. Don't lie, Randy. You said dirty air.
Wait a minute. I'm talking about the reflection of that. The skyline is reflected back down and blocking out the bottom part of the lighthouse.
Did you not start off by saying the reason lighthouses are tall is so they don't get flooded by high tides? Isn't that what you said?
I said that's one reason, yeah.
Oh, okay. And now you're saying it's dirty air.
No, we're talking about when you see the mirage of the image that Anthony had up before that reflected the lighthouse and the sky back down over the ocean. I was given a reason as to what that dirty air might be.
You just said dirty air
nonsense.
again.
No, it's not nonsense. I'll tell you for why. Because
no, it is nonsense. Because water vapor is transparent.
You just made a statement that at night time you can see
water vapor is transparent,
right? And you can look to
water
the
vapor is transparent.
You can see the stars. And I say to you, well, obviously the water isn't being heated by the sun, then, so you're not having that evaporation take place. So everything at night time, when you look and you see distances much further than you do during the daytime, that's because the water isn't in a vaporous state just above the ocean. That's why we can see further.
Well, you switched
water
arguments.
vapor is
you started
transparent.
off by saying that the reason lighthouses
right.
are tall to avoid tides. That's what you started off by saying, right?
Way back in when we first started talking about why would you need a 100-foot lighthouse that's sitting in the water? Well, obviously it is to avoid the tides and the surges of the storms that come in. Of course, that makes
so you claim that you didn't demonstrate that.
And that's why the circular, so the tides have not got a solid area to pull the building down. That's why they shaped that design.
That's right, but I want to get back to this dirty air business. Right? Yeah. The air isn't dirty. Water vapor doesn't cause refraction. Water vapor doesn't cause distortion.
That's your assertion. That's what we see. We do. Do you do experiments?
Water vapor. Yeah, water vapor. Water vapor
you
causes
produce
air
me
to
some?
be less dense, not more dense.
Would you show me some of your
Okay.
experiments that prove what you're saying?
Yeah, why don't you prove dirty air?
We see it all the time.
Yeah.
No.
Yes, we
Is
do.
there a scientific explanation for dirty air?
There's a
You're just
scientific explanation. If you look in a puddle, you can see the reflection of the clouds and the sky and everything that's above it. If you
hold
look
on.
in a puddle,
What has that got to
if you
do
look
with
in a-
dirty
Oh my
air?
God.
because that is what water does. Water can be reflective.
Water vapor is
Create a
invisible.
mirror.
Do you need to hear that again?
Water can create a mirror.
Water vapor is invisible. Do you need
I
to
thought-
hear that again?
How do you?
Yeah, I thought
do you
dirty
see
air was
steam?
smog.
Can you see steam when the kettle boils? Do you see the steam?
Not water
That's
vapor.
water vapor. You just said water vapor is invisible.
Water vapor.
So the steam that comes out of the kettle, is that water vapor?
Wet. No, the wet steam is
The
not
steam that comes out of the kettle, is that water vapor? Is that water
No,
vapor?
it is not.
Yes, it is.
No,
No,
it is
Yes, it
not.
is.
no, it is not, Randy.
Yes, it is. It's
What
it's
you are seeing.
No, it's in its
No,
gaseous
what you are
state.
seeing is the condensation. No, what you are seeing is condensation in the form of small droplets. That is what you are seeing
So
when
you're
you
saying
see
that,
steam.
So now you're admitting that you can see condensation on the water, which is basically the same
No,
as the evaporation.
No.
Stop.
No.
No. You just said to me that you cannot see water in its gaseous state. I just said you can see it when you look at it through when a kettle boils.
And that's not in its gaseous state. When you see it, it's not
Yes, it
gaseous.
is. Because if you
It's
leave
that
that kettle
simple.
boiling,
No, it's not.
If you leave that kettle boiling, the water that was in the kettle suddenly there's no water left in the kettle, so it's gone somewhere. It has got out of the kettle. So
We're
it
not
must have
questioning
changed
that
from
it's
a
the water
liquid
coming
into
out.
a gas.
That's not in question, Ranty.
Yeah, well, you're just trolling.
What happens? No, we're not. What happens is the water does change into its gaseous
your
state,
arguments
and it
have
comes
no-
out. Are you going to let me talk, Ranty? Are you going to talk over me again?
Probably not, because you're just not listening.
Okay. The water comes out of the kettle in the form of water vapor, and it immediately condenses into tiny water droplets in the colder air outside of the kettle. That is what you see. You're not seeing the water vapor. You're seeing tiny condensed droplets of water. That's what you're seeing when you see steam.
Nathan.
Does Randy think that fog is water vapor?
Yes.
Could you open up Miles Davis's demonstration at the beginning of the hangout? Not the last hangout, the one before that, where he was showing how light bends from behind the Earth, and get it to the point where he flips it up.
I'll do my best. Give me a minute.
Good man. Carry on, Paul.
Oh, I was just asking Ranty, can you see puddles evaporate, Ranty? No answer.
My avatar is that lighthouse explanation. That's the only way I could figure to get it in here.
Ready? Hope me wire fighting team is ready.
What?
This makes.
I made my
level
point. I made my
And that's
point.
why a crow's nest is so high too, so you can see land in a ship.
What on
Randy,
earth?
you fail simple things.
Yeah,
Water
well,
vapor-
that's your
water
claim at
vapor is
everything.
invisible.
So we have approximately half an hour left on this broadcast. So if you've not done so already, be sure to share the show. Massive thanks out to Shill Scanner and They Lie Ohio for hitting that super chat. There is, of course, a super chat that runs alongside the show while it's live. So if you did want to support this channel, hit that super chat. In a moment, I'm going to disappear just to find a Miles Davis example from an earlier hangout. I think it was on yesterday's, so that can be presented. But if you are new to this channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. As I say, there's about half an hour left on this broadcast if you did want to join.
And you got the reflection going off of the sky and over the ocean. When we're looking through that murky layer, what is it? What is that murky layer? You tell me.
I haven't seen evidence that there is a murky layer and that is not a mirage.
Yes, you have, Curved. I've showed
That,
you this.
that is the most ridiculous thing. You can look at any video of a boat 10 miles away and you'll see that murky air.
No.
Not every time.
No. Ranty, I showed you a
97%.
video.
And he said to me, he's just said now that he's never seen it before, ever. And that's a
I
lie.
showed him it earlier in the hangout.
Whoa.
You just said you've never seen it.
No,
Let's
you guys
stop
are playing
rewording
games.
stuff.
Yeah.
Let's stop rewording stuff here, Ranty.
Well, did you
No,
not just say that you've just never seen it?
Curved. He's right.
no.
You did say it.
You see how I'm not even interested because I don't play with cheaters.
What do you mean?
In that
You know
video
what I mean?
that Riley was showing from Jaronism there, I'm saying that's not dirty air. Or no, I'm not saying that is dirty air or agreeing with you that it's dirty air. What I'm seeing, I think, is a mirage.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
The mirage.
Where the image is raised up in the field of view due to the bending of the light.
What's
And
causing the light?
Refraction. And
What's causing the refraction?
Temperature gradients mainly.
What's physically causing it? What's the temperature gradient? So what's happening in that temperature gradient difference? What's causing that? What's causing the light to bend and this refraction?
Sorry, before you answer that, Curved, can I just say a quick hello to our new guest? We've got a new guest. Sorry, Ranty, to interrupt you. We've got a new guest. Scotty, how you doing?
How's it going, mate? Cheers, mate.
Hi, Scotty.
Hey, thank you, Nathan Oakley. How you going, buddy?
Very good to have you here. Thanks for being here, Scotty.
Sweet as. Cheers.
Yeah, it kind of gets boring, don't it?
Nathan, don't forget about that Miles video.
Yeah, I'm on it. I've just got lots of things to do. It'd be easy if you could do it, but you've let me in the hangout, so the least I can do is actually do that for you because you're not in the hangout, so I can be. So thanks.
Well, I do have it on screen, but I just got to share it through Skype.
Oh, that's fine. Just don't share audio. If you just share picture, I can just put your Skype page up instead. That's much easier for me.
Do that.
Yeah, I can do
that. Whilst this is coming on, I just want to I want to kind of go back to I want to go back to, am I being presented now, Nath?
Yep.
All right, so in answer to the
just
question...
just give me a second. I've got to get it so these guys can see it too. Give me 10 seconds. Okay, now everyone should be able to see that.
Okay, so in answer to the question why are lighthouses tall, Miles Davis presented an animation to address why the lights on Lake Pontchartrain appeared to bend up at the end. And he's basically showing that if there's something that's behind the curve of the Earth, it can bend the light that much that it appears to be in the position that it's in. If this was true, then we would never need any lighthouses because they would never need to negate the curvature of the Earth. So either Miles must be wrong in this explanation, or lighthouses are tall because they've got to get above that atmospheric effect, whatever that dirty air is. And it was me that said dirty air. So don't focus on the word dirty air. Focus on the fact that it's above it.
Right.
So
now, would you like me to point out the fallacy in that statement? The fallacy in your statement originates from your assertion that we would never need to have lighthouses tall because the light would always bend over the Earth. You know darn well that the light bends because of refraction, and the refraction varies.
No, light doesn't bend.
It doesn't bend at the same amount all the time. You know it doesn't bend at the same amount all the time. So saying that we wouldn't need lighthouses because of the refraction bending the light is a load of nonsense. That's a non sequitur because you know darn well that the light doesn't bend the same amount all the time.
So therefore, if it's non sequitur for me, it must also be non sequitur for Miles to present this too.
Why?
Because if you won't accept it as a valid comparison from me, then Miles's point was that the light is falling the light is being bent that much from behind the curve of the Earth. It now not only bends it up to
not
be straight,
always
it bends it up to be that
we're
far.
talking about what can and does happen, but it's not steady. It's not constant. Didn't you listen to him?
Can I make a suggestion, please? Can I jump in?
Still debating this.
Riley, can I make a suggestion?
Yeah, go on.
Why don't we wait and see the final result? He hasn't even uploaded it yet. Let him publish his final result, and then we can start pulling it apart. All we have up to now is it's an overview of what he's doing.
I'm addressing the lighthouses, and I'm addressing that Miles believes that if a lighthouse was not tall, Miles believes that it would fall behind the curve of the Earth, but somehow in times represents itself up here for us to see anyway. But we all know that that wouldn't be the case. But Miles says it
Riley,
was in the
I
previous
think
hang-on.
we've already established, and Nathan agrees with me, that elevation increases line of sight. That's why lighthouses are high. And
Agreed.
Nathan agreed with that.
But is it because of the curve of the Earth, or is it because of atmospheric effect?
It doesn't matter. The reason
All
lighthouses
the papers I
that's the
read
whole
said it's
point.
curvature of the Earth.
doesn't matter. We've
Does matter.
established
Of course
that
it matters.
elevation increases line of sight.
The whole point of this argument. It's absolutely the point of this discussion.
Jeez.
We were talking
think
about
it's-
why lighthouses are high, and then Ranty was saying it's because if they weren't high, they would get flooded by high tides, which he stopped saying. And then this thing about dirty air, and I'm saying that the reason lighthouses are high
I haven't stopped saying.
elevation increases line of sight.
Yeah. But the assertion is it's because it's to compensate for the curvature of the Earth. Yet you've not been able to produce evidence of curvature, but we have produced evidence of atmospheric effect.
The reason lighthouses are high is because elevation increases line of sight. That's all I'm saying. Make of that what you like.
Yeah, but it's the causation point again, though, isn't it? The assertion was that it was because of the curvature of the Earth that it needed to compensate for. And again, I make my point that we've produced evidence that shows it's an atmospheric effect it's compensating for, but there's no evidence of curvature.
So you say.
Well, no, we had
Riley,
a whole
do you
lot. We had a
understand
list
that
of stuff
diagram?
being presented for this curved. We had what was it? The
What?
vernal equinox. We've had the line of sight.
Hey,
From
Nathan,
the
when you
Burj
came in,
Khalifa.
I couldn't hear what you started to say until after you began talking. I missed the entire beginning of that.
Okay.
So I don't. Okay.
So yeah. So when it was put to you guys to present evidence that they're high to account for the curvature, what we got was the Burj Khalifa and the vernal equinox. That's what we got.
It's
Right,
in
the
the
vernal
Google
equinox,
Hangouts
take that out of
paper.
context. Excuse me, Tony. The vernal
Sorry.
equinox was talked about because you said I was assuming that it was a sphere.
Well, let me ask you this, Nathan. Why would elevation
When did
increase?
the Earth fucking start moving? I reckon.
Why would elevation increase
When
line
the
of sight?
Foucault pendulum told you it did.
No swearing,
Make-
please. Don't swear.
Right.
Foucault,
Why would elevation increase line of sight on the flat Earth?
Because you're getting above the dirty air that I'm showing you on screen right now that's creating whatever this
Okay,
atmospheric
Riley,
effect is.
how do you see the sun set through the dirty air?
You don't. That's why the sun disappears from the bottom up.
And there we have it.
Can I just
There we
intersect?
have it.
Oh.
I'm reading it.
What do you
Riley,
do with
why don't
this?
you go try to cast shadows on light bulbs for us?
Nice job, Riley.
What do you do with this?
Turn a light on and cast a shadow on the light bulb.
The light's on, but nobody's home.
Can I just clarify a point that was made earlier?
Earthers, like they're the only ones doing this for a living.
Here we go. True
Really?
wisdom with Scotty.
Can I clarify
Sorry,
a point from earlier, please?
Sorry, I didn't realize I speak my mind, mate. Sorry.
Yeah, water vapor is invisible. Clarify that, Randy.
Right.
Yeah.
This is the Smeaton design of the lighthouses. You have different types of designs. This is a Smeaton design. Basically, it says granite is a common to the Devonshire and Dorset coast and is an incredibly hard rock which can take the strain of the ocean with relative ease. So what does that tell you? That the design of the building itself and what materials were used in it were specifically made to withstand the pressures and tidal forces of the ocean.
Where's the lighthouse?
This is the Smeaton type of lighthouse. They're the
Thank
ones
you.
that
That's
are,
one that's
Yeah.
already submerged underwater, right?
yeah,
It's a short one.
or yeah, right down at the coast.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's
Okay,
in a.
so that's just
Mhm.
clarifying my position. When you was
That's so you know
laughing
exactly how
before
far
about
away you
saying
are
that it
from-
was to withstand the pressure.
That's to tell where the channels are, dude. That's crooked to even mention that.
Stepping out again.
It's not the same thing. That's a short term lighthouse. That's for short maneuvering through the channels there.
Hey, can a P900 zoom in on water vapor and make it visible?
Yes.
I mean, I know the thing's got magical powers, but that would make it like actually like a god if it could make water vapor visible.
Well, in a Morgana Mirage, that's well, it's the actual.
So where's the horizon in this video curved? Where's the
Have you
curvature?
ever seen a rainbow?
Where's the true horizon?
I've heard a rainbow in the dark.
Like
Well,
a
there's no
rainbow
rainbow
in the dark.
Your screen is being presented, Spurs.
All I
Where's
can see is pumpkin.
Yeah, great stuff. So
And I wish
where's the
Alright.
horizon in this picture?
paper
Kurt?
could be.
Why is the boat in the sky? And
It's not.
why would you consider this
Boat's on the water.
Because it's
Sorry?
the light from the boat is being bent downward, causing the boat to appear elevated in our field of view.
Do you think the boat's
So
in
where's
the
the
sky?
actual boat?
What?
On the
Where's
water.
the actual boat?
It's right
I
there. It's
still
right where
can't
you
hear
can see the
Spurs.
reflection of the boat.
Yeah,
He's like, where's the actual boat? We
Yeah.
don't know. This is the photo. It's taken a long time ago. The boat could probably be in some
we
harbor
just, we
somewhere.
just saw a bird fly in this band. So
A
I don't-
bird can. Well, how do, where
see the
is
bird here?
where is the bird? Where is the
see the
bird?
do you see the
relative-
bird fly across?
No, no, I
you
didn't.
don't see the bird.
No, I didn't see it.
Well,
You want me to lie and tell you I did?
All right, well, let's try
Spurs.
again.
I didn't
Spurs.
see it. Ask
Spurs.
again, Spurs.
All right, I'll ask you when I see it. I see it now. Do you see it?
No. Now I see.
You
Okay.
didn't see that bird.
That's
I
cool.
saw
That's very cool, Spurs. I see
Oh
it
my
too.
I saw that almost smaller than a pixel.
All
sized
ballers
bird.
don't see the bird. Okay.
How far away is the bird, Spurs?
There's the bird.
How far
Let's talk
away
about
is the
birds
bird,
now.
Spurs?
Here's the bird coming into
Spurs.
view.
Spurs.
Spurs. Perhaps the
How
question
far
that you need
away
to
is
ask
the
him is,
bird?
where's the water that the boat sat on?
How?
You know, the bird's not as far
Yeah,
away
where
as
is
the
the boat?
boat.
Where is the actual boat? What is this here? Is this sky? You would have been telling me this is sky, this is water. I would have believed you. But if I hadn't seen this video, I would say now, well, why is the boat in the sky?
And on my
it's not.
screen, you can
Boat's
see
on
the
the
water
water.
line.
And the
You can
bird,
see
how
the
did
water
the
line going
bird
up to
fly
the boat,
under?
The
though.
boat is on the
How does
water
the bird? How does that bird fly under the boat?
because
'Cause
it's
it's closer.
closer to the camera than the boat.
It's not a
so you admit,
two-dimensional world, dude.
you admit then that this is water.
No, I'm not admitting that.
Oh, you don't admit
I am-
that. So why are you
Oh, so the
admitting
bird flies underwater.
that? Yeah. So what's happening? So how do you explain this?
Really? So the bird is what is it? A fish?
Where's the curvature?
I think
The
we're seeing a
bird
fish.
is closer than the boat.
Come on,
Where's the
Spurs. That is the
horizon?
curvature.
Where's the
What are you talking
horizon?
about?
Than
You're
the
seeing it.
horizon.
Ridiculous.
Curvature explains that.
You-
That is curve.
You do
Curve?
not have a
Where's the
third
water that the
dimension.
boat sits on?
Spurs.
Curve. I'm just asking you in your mind, where is the horizon? Where is the curvature?
I'm
here?
fine with it being at the top of the water.
That's
This
where it
here
is.
is the.
So what's-
This is for
I'm-
you.
I'm-
For
that
you,
means
this
the
is
boat
where
flies.
curvature.
I'm
Yeah.
fine with it. No, that is not.
Yes.
Don't phrase it
No.
that way. I
Can I please
can't.
ask a question?
I can't agree to that, Spurs. You're phrasing it wrong.
Yo, I'm trying to ask you a question and get a simple.
And I'm trying
response.
to answer you, Spurs. You don't listen.
Right,
And then
where
Curve-
is the horizon in this video?
I'm fine with it being the
Holy
water.
moly, dude. The horizon is at the dark line right there.
I'm fine with
So how-
that.
So how's
I'm
the boat
not. I'm
floating?
not convinced that it's that line that you say up there where the boat.
I haven't
appears
said
to
any
meet
line.
the
I've
sky.
you would say this is the hard line. This
Okay,
is the apparent
Spurs.
horizon.
Spurs. Keep in mind, and for everybody
Oh,
out
right
there,
below it.
I have a long history of experience with you on this. I know where you say the horizon is here.
No, I haven't said. I don't know where the horizon
You
is. How
say
can
the
I?
horizon is at the bottom of the boat. You've said it time and time again. I know that.
No, I couldn't tell you where the horizon is. How
Then
could
why
I tell
do you
you?
lie
If this
and
boat
tell me
wasn't
it's
here,
at the bottom of the boat?
if this
If
boat
you
wasn't here, we
don't
would
know
all
where the
thought-
horizon is, then why do you
Oh my
lie
God.
and say it's at the bottom of the boat?
Where's the
because we
water
would
that
have
the
all
boat
thought
sits
that
on?
this was the horizon. If the boat wasn't there, correct? That's
Curve
the
already
point. You
answered
see,
you.
if
He
the
said
boat
that he's
wasn't there,
happy.
Curve, everybody would be saying, "Yep, there's the horizon. I can
Hey,
see it."
Spurs, I see the boat, and I'm still telling you, I think the horizon is at the water.
So what's the
That
boat doing?
we
Is it
see.
levitating?
No, it is
What's happening with the
being,
boat?
it's being refracted.
He did.
So why,
Reflected from
so
where?
why
Where's
the
the
sea not
actual
reflected
boat?
with it? Why has the sea not been reflected with it? Why just the
I
boat?
need 3 or 4 more people.
Reflected,
ask it.
refracted.
But just the boat. Just the boat was refracted. Not
The light
water underneath it.
from The
Let me ask a
boat
question
is
here.
being
Curved.
bent
Let me ask
downward,
Curved a
making the
question.
boat appear
Oh, hold on,
higher
Anthony.
than it is in
Ranty's
our
got him on
field
the
of
ropes.
view.
Or the boat is just in the water, and we can't discern whether this is sky or water.
I'm telling you what
No.
I see it as. You ask me what I see, I'm telling you what I see.
No.
Obviously, we
I
know the
agree
boat.
with Curve, 100%.
We know the boat is in the water. We know this.
Do we?
So
That's
we
a
know
logical
that this
fallacy.
has to be water.
Do we know that, Spurs? Because with
Well,
you, it's hard to
think
tell.
the boat's in
You might
sky.
think the boat is actually flying because you believe in magic and wizards.
You have no.
Well, this is the problem. You're telling me that this
credibility.
boat is in the sky. I'm asking you, is this water? You said no. This you believe this to be the horizon. This hard line.
I do.
So if you believe this to be the horizon, then you're telling us that this boat is in the sky with the bird. that
No,
we
I'm
just
not.
saw.
No, I'm not. No.
No.
You're making
The
a
bird is
false
in the sky.
You're
Look,
making a
according
false
to you,
dichotomy.
according
Spurs.
to you, Curve, the bird
false
is in the
dichotomy.
sky,
The bird is in the
and
sky.
the boat.
The bird.
Yeah, and the boat is in the same place.
Spurs
also in the sky.
chemo. Spurs.
How
All
can
right,
how
this
can we
is
have
pretty
both ways?
simple,
Look,
guys.
You're like these idiots that look at the space videos and they see objects by the sun.
Curved. The boat
claim
and the
this
bird
must
in the
be-
sky.
This
The
object must be the
bird
size of
is
Jupiter
much closer than the
because
boat.
they compare it to the
If
size of the
bird
sun
was as
in the
far
video.
away as the boat, the bird would be as big as a dinghy.
Yeah.
You dinghy.
The bird is not out there by the boat, Spurs. It's much nearer.
There's a dinghy
See,
on
you
that
don't
boat.
understand.
You see that
near
dinghy, the same size
and
as that
far.
bird? Come on, let's look. Let's just use your silly little logic. Oh, you want
can't
to
look
move it
at a
off of there now?
picture.
Yeah, ding, 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 ding. End of discussion. The
You
bird is
don't
not as
apply
big
logic,
as
Spurs. You don't apply logic. You don't have
is
it to
closer.
apply.
done.
You think that anything out there that falls between the water and the boat is out there at the distance of the
Let him
boat.
respond to the bird size, dude.
That's what I was just pointing out.
Yeah, oh, I'm sorry. Let him eat that corn chip.
He thinks the bird is out there at the boat.
No,
Right,
you
let me
think
say-
the
what is
boat is
that,
in the sky. This is the problem.
What is that, a
you have.
pterodactyl?
No, well, don't twist it.
What is
Where
that, a
is the
pterodactyl
bird?
out there?
Where's the bird, Spurs? Where's the bird?
15-foot bird?
Where's the bird, Spurs?
The boat is in the water.
Where is the bird?
How big do you think that sailboat is there?
How far away is the bird?
50
Spurs?
foot?
The distance. Well, who knows what the
It's
distance?
about a 50-foot sailboat.
Why are you trying to say it's out that far?
Chris Craft?
I'm not saying any of that. I'm asking you, where is the
You
horizon
are.
line?
No. You're trying to say that the bird is physically out there flying through that band between
Under
the
that
water
boat.
and the
So,
boat.
to be under the boat, it would have to be at the equal distance to the boat, wouldn't it?
Or
Wouldn't
it's
it?
closer. What do you think? You think the bird might be closer than the boat?
Either that or it's a
Maybe.
pterodactyl.
Where's the
Maybe.
horizon? Where's the horizon?
How many times do we have to answer that, Ranty? Do you
Well, where's the
listen?
boat? So where's the boat floating?
You guys are
Refraction.
trolling.
Refraction. How many times do we have to answer that?
No, Nate, telling
Because
you
you
to do
don't
it.
answer it.
Right, I'm gonna have to take him down because we've been joined by a new guest. We've got about 10 minutes left, guys, but we're joined by Jamie. How you doing, Jamie?
Nathan wants a poop show.
Jamie, how you doing?
Good. Very
Good
good.
to have you here.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Good to see you.
You want it answered for
Good
the
to see you
fifth
too.
time, right? I can say it 10 times.
Because
Refraction,
you know that
Ranty.
your answer is wrong.
Refraction, Ranty. Refraction.
No, you know your
It's
answer
refraction,
is wrong.
Ranty. I believe the water is the horizon and the boat is being refracted. If I'm wrong, please somebody demonstrate how.
Would it not make more sense that the sky is being reflected and covering a portion of the top end of the ocean?
I
and that
really
the boat is
don't
actually
care.
sitting on the horizon itself.
I don't care. Make
Sky's
a
being reflected from where?
Make a
The
case.
sky's being reflected like it does on the lighthouse one that Anthony
Reflected
showed
from
before.
what? Reflected
Anthony-
from what?
Just let me finish what I was saying. Anthony showed a video before that showed the reflection of the lighthouse back into the ocean. It reflected it, it mirrored it. So what we're seeing here is the boat sitting on the horizon, and we're seeing the reflection of the sky over the water.
You would see waves. You'd still see the black edges of the waves, though. I would think, if that was the case.
And
But
keep
what
in
I'm saying
mind,
is
I
that
don't
that's
care.
what we're seeing. So whatever I'm saying is, if there was something
And
else
why
that was
doesn't the
nearer to
sky
the
cover up
horizon,
why isn't the sky covering up the boat? The reflection of the sky covering up the boat.
Because it's dirty air.
Smog.
That dirty air.
Yeah, so for me, this proves the flat Earth because
Of
on a
course.
board, this would
That's
be
great.
completely
Because you're a
disappeared.
knucklehead. That's
If
why.
this was a really a ball, this would have disappeared behind this horizon, and we would see half of whatever you call half or the bottom
Spurs,
point, whatever you want to call it.
let's talk about what you just said.
Yeah, if this was really a ball as you claim, that this ship would have disappeared behind this horizon.
Hey, Spurs, if the water line is really up at the bottom of the boat,
No,
as you
just how I
guys are
understand
putting
it is that
Spurs,
ships
no,
would
no,
disappear
no,
over
no.
this
If
horizon
Spurs
curved.
follow,
This is the hard horizon. So
Spurs,
how I understand it is that this boat should have disappeared over this horizon. But it
why
hasn't.
would it if it's up there on what is really the water, as you are asserting? Then why would it disappear behind the horizon that it is set on top of?
Yeah, it should have disappeared. Why it shouldn't have?
Why should it disappear if it's sitting on top of the horizon, Spurs?
This is the horizon that you said.
I'm talking about in your world.
No, I'm talking about in your world. Why hasn't it disappeared over this horizon?
It has, it's being refracted. Now, in your world, you're saying the boat is actually sitting on the horizon, and yet you're simultaneously claiming
we're saying
it
that
should disappear
what we're
over that
saying-
horizon.
Well, what I'm saying actually is that from this hard line to the horizon here is still water.
Right. So why should the boat disappear if it's sitting on the horizon? It's sitting on water in clear view, sitting on the horizon. Why should it disappear?
Because if it was on a ball, it should have disappeared, right?
Spurs, if it's sitting on the water, flat or ball, if it's sitting on the horizon, why should it be disappeared behind the horizon?
Okay, can I say something?
Distance from the observer.
If you make sense, yeah.
Right. Okay.
Try to
So
do better than Spurs.
If we can just say this, you don't have to agree, but if we can say that that boat is sat on water, right? We have a good portion of the water that is not seen. We can't see it because it's reflected out by the sky.
Okay.
So if there was an object that was in the water, not where the boat is, but a bit nearer to us, but it was being covered up by the sky, then we wouldn't see it. It would hide it. That reflective mirroring would not, we wouldn't be able to see something that should be there. Exactly as we see when we're looking at things in the distance and we cannot see the bottom of the building or stuff like that. That reflective layer that covers it up and blocks it out. It's exactly the same.
Very well. And I just wanted to quickly show this before we end in soon, 5 minutes. This is the edge, the ice wall.
Oh, there you go.
And
Proof
what we
finally.
see, not just to show the edge, we see that the ice is flat as you like, flat as can be. For miles and miles, there is no detectable, measurable curvature. So that should tell you again.
That's only like 30
how
feet off the shore, though.
how was it measured? How was it measured, Spurs?
Yeah, miles and miles here without curvature. We
How
know that
was it
ice is
measured? How was it measured?
How was what measured?
How was the flatness measured? You're asserting it was flat, there's no curvature. How was it measured?
Well, how was the curvature of the Earth measured?
Geodetic surveying.
Or with
No,
a
that's
theodolite?
calculated.
Was this measured with a theodolite?
Theodolites look at
it's
slope,
calculated.
not curve.
Prove that. If you're going to
Huge
assert
difference.
that, prove
Rubbish.
it. Prove it.
Because the Earth's flat. It's got no curve.
I'm sorry, but a video going
No.
on the top of an ice wall doesn't prove it flat.
Circular reasoning, Riley.
Well, you can see flatness for miles and miles. I mean, they
pretty
would see
nice video.
curvature.
I
but
see
look
a
at the left and
video
right.
showing a piece of ice.
Every point along this ice would be a breaking point. and it doesn't happen.
But that's not even a quarter mile
on the
view
board.
right there. It's a tiny little chunk.
Everywhere along
Longer.
the flatness of this ball, I mean, everywhere along the flatness of this plane, if it was on the board, there would be it start to break. You wouldn't be able to hold like this.
Got to agree with them, Spurs. You're just asserting this. You're not presenting anything.
That's exactly what I expect to happen. I would see gaps like an orange breaking on this ice, especially here.
Why?
Paul's asked you if it's been measured, Spurs. Sorry, guys, we're going to round out soon. Can I just draw this little bit to a conclusion? Sorry, guys. So, Spurs, you've been asked a question. Has it been measured?
Hang on.
Yeah, in this section of the
Nathan's
board.
trying to talk. Hang on.
Yeah, I'm saying in this section of the board.
Shut up, Spurs.
Spurs, shut up.
Oh, sorry.
Paul's asked you if it's been measured. Is the answer yes or is the answer no? Gone on mute. We can only assume that the answer is no. It hasn't been measured. So therefore, it's completely fallacious to say that it's just flat. Anyway.
It's a beautiful video, though.
Well, thank you, Nathan. Thank you.
Say
Like,
we've never seen the airport.
About 60 seconds left.
being fair and balanced here.
All right.
Curved
I like
Rex.
it.
Well, what do we
Circular reasoning works because circular reasoning works.
upside down?
Oh, that city's upside down.
Examples of
Well, it
Morocco.
was a good way to end because look, we can see that they're silent, which is what we expect anyway. They don't have anything to show.
You guys were supposed to say
we
something,
are
not
constantly
us.
showing things. We've just shown you no curvature. We've just shown you an apparent wall, a wall of ice, at least, to say the least.
Spurs,
And
did you answer Nathan's question?
We asked you a
Yeah,
question.
answer
We asked you a
Nathan's
simple
question.
question. How has it been measured? When and how? It was silence. So with that,
You're the one that went silent. You went on mute when Nathan asked you a question. You went silent and muted when Nathan asked you a question.
Was he asking me?
Yeah,
Yes,
or do you just
yeah,
assume
it's
every time
Paul's
he talks
question.
is against us?
Paul asked you if it had been measured, so you're asserting that this entire plateau is flat. And Paul said, how has it been measured? And you said it's just flat. And then we got onto everyone pointing out that's circular reasoning, etc., etc. But has it been measured or not? If it has, can you present that?
Thank you.
How would I know if it's been measured?
You're the
Why
one
would you say
asserting
that?
that it's flat, so I would expect you to know that if you're making that assertion.
Why do we see the bottom and the tops of these buildings
it look
touching
flat?
each other?
It looks flat.
I would answer yes, Spurs. To me, it looks absolutely flat as a pancake, but that's not going to fly here.
But what we could do is we could do what the Globies do and say, well, isn't it up for them to prove that it's round?
I didn't realise you were actually talking to me because somebody else asked about it's been measured. So I thought you were asking how has it been measured.
Yeah, that's exactly what Paul asked. I mean, I'm reiterating Paul's point, which is that unless we have some definitive measurement of that, it's different when you.
What do you mean? Has it been measured? You mean to put a spirit level to see if it's flat or not?
But if that had been done, that'd be wonderful.
Yeah, what exactly means measured? How would you
The same question can go back to the Globies, though. How have they measured the curve?
Hey, can I get a dirty air explanation
Yeah,
for this?
absolutely, Riley. It works both ways.
Dirty air is just
Let's
an
talk
adjective
dirty
that I
air
use to
here.
describe whatever's going on the horizon. I don't know, therefore dirty. I don't mean it as in some kind of scientific sense. I just mean it's undescribed.
All right, well, let's talk about dirty
Well,
air.
don't you mean bad air? I think you mean bad air, don't you? Do you know what bad air means?
Bad air will do. Dirty air. I don't see the problem with dirty
Do
air.
you know what bad air means?
Okay, would you like me to have a go at this?
Bad air means malaria.
And with that, I am going to first and foremost say a massive, huge, enormous thank you to our live audience for tuning into this debate and sharing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And of course, a massive thank you to the debating panel for making this debate possible. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.